Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Saga, the remix.
DMB, Tux Bites, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give you the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us on your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty who's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. But then it took a long fine eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the bus station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt this sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, a killing eye. I found me a beautiful girl.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe, shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together. Take your place in my heart with your beauty. I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, a killing tie. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl, most beautiful girl. Yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money, you seen her? Hot Ice, have you seen her? LP, have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look,
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time, I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace up with presents and gifts. Call me Santa Claus. I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me Aston Kutcher, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'ma go get her. Since I'm a go getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl. Psych. Ooh,
It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, welcome back. On a day, happy Monday. Surprise. Happy Monday to you. Yes, I told you I was going to try to be early this week a little bit. But yes, this is a surprise show. Okay, and to be honest with you, up to 30 minutes ago, I didn't think I was going to go live. But I said, why not? There was something that was boiling in my heart, right? And I was like, I have to. Yeah, I have to, because I feel like I'll be stealing from all of us if I didn't, right? Shout out to you. How on a day? How's everybody doing? Do me a favor, as you're coming in, hit the like button, share and subscribe. Share. We have a few things to talk about today. My hope is that I can keep it to 1 hour, because it's weekday. I want to do that during the week, because I know you guys are busy. I'm busy. I want to kind of keep it short and sweet to about 1 hour, have a message, and we'll keep it moving. Today, believe it or not, we're still talking about this cheating saga. Okay, it's crazy, it's crazy. All right, I'll give you a quick story. I do have a quick story time for you today, and then also obviously I want to bring you up to speed with the whole Banky W thing, because clearly Nigerians especially, we need a new story or something. We need another new story to break out, because we never run out of stories, right? So today is going to be interesting. It's going to be short but interesting, I promise. Okay, so just stay put. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen, because I do have as usual some extremely timely lesson that we need to learn from this today. Okay, and take it from there. Shout out to Niola. She looks beautiful in that picture. All right, there's some speculation that it's not even her now. People are saying it's somebody else. Which one is it? Yeah, what does it matter? What is it that, oh, my video is lagging. Let me see here. All right, not from my end. Check again. Somebody else, please do let me know if the video is lagging. Not too far. How you doing? It looks good on my end here. Let me see. Yeah, I have a monitor here, and it looks good on my end. Shout out to all 7 of you watching, by the way. Do me a favor again. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Thank you. All right, so today I have a story. Okay, I have a story I'm going to share with you, and yes, it has to do with Banky W as well. But today we're going to there's a big topic here that we have to keep talking about, right? And it's this one right here. Number 3. Expectations. Okay. One of the funny things about men that claim to be red pilled is that oftentimes, probably my estimation, 97% of the time, they're actually blue pill. And they're just having a hard time facing reality, because the idea of red pill is that you see the world for what it is, you see it, you see the truth, you understand it, you don't argue with it, you just accept it. Okay, so I think the last part of it is what they struggle with, accepting it, which is why they feel the need to keep shoveling down people's throats their own interpretation of what is going on with life, right? And they tend to use extreme languages, disrespectful languages, and they claim they're the only one telling the truth. But in actuality, it's because they are really blue pill, meaning they want to stay in la la land. They want to continue to fantasize about perfect people, about perfect human beings, about the idea that being a good guy is good enough. Okay, we can see the same thing on the flip side of things too, until when women start to talk, you said, wait, you're 2 minutes ago you were shaming cheaters, but what you just described is literally cheating. That's what just happened over the past 2-3 hours. Okay, and that's what I wanted to tell you all about. Okay, I keep telling you, one of the major, okay, if not the main thing that's destroying relationships and especially marriage is unrealistic, unmanaged expectations. That's what it is. All right. I saw another gentleman said it's uncommunicated expectations. Like, what? Don't you have to know the expectations first before you communicate it? You have to be aware that you have unrealistic expectations first before you can even communicate it. Or you'll be communicating unrealistic expectations. In other words, it just gets worse because people are like, you're mad. I'm not going to do that. Or they will feel the need to lie to you because they don't want to lose you, right? I think if anything, people are talking too much of gibberish, right? There's no such thing as over communicating, but there is such a thing as over talking. It does exist. Okay, you can talk too much, absolutely. Okay, all right. So today's episode of this Banky W saga started with a few people on social media arguing about if it should be held accountable or not. And I was lost. I'm like, held accountable for what? They said, well, it's a pastor. I'm like, okay, I found out for the first time that, okay, he's been ordained. He was ordained, I guess, a pastor in Waterbrooks, which is, even by itself, it's a little weird to me. If he just started preaching like 2 days ago, why are you ordaining him so fast? Nigerian churches will do that. They will ordain people, especially if you're a man of a certain status and he's loving Jesus and, he's speaking, let's just ordain him. Nigerian churches will do that. They rush to it. I'm left to wonder if it's just because of the clout. Why are they ordaining Banky W if he started preaching just less than 3 years ago? If he can be a Bible study person, teacher, he can start small. But, Nigerian churches, sometimes they think with their own version of spirituality. You notice what I just did there, right? They speak from their own version of spirituality. Is there another version of spirituality? That's what I hear. So sometimes what Nigerians call spirituality, I'm like, all right, what do you mean? And then when they finish, I'm like, okay, all right, that's spirituality to you. Okay, right? So Banky W had a few TED Talks about Christianity, how he found Jesus, some testimonies. Some of them were actually testimonies of his how he survived cancer. Like, he put it out there. A lot of people value those videos. They were inspirational, and then people start to hype him like, oh, maybe you could be a pastor. Then in the middle of that is a politician, trying to run for office as House of Rep, right? And but he's a pastor now. I found out he's a pastor. So now a bunch of Gen Z Nigerians are now asking to hold him accountable. He should at least let me see here. According to them, he should at least say something. I said, say something to what? I mean, there's the rumors. I'm like, The rumors is it's not even you can't attach it to a source, because the only thing you can call source that you can attach it to is Gist Lover, and they never mentioned his name. Oh yeah, but we kind of know that that's who they're talking about, right? That's what they said. Well, it's obvious that's who they're talking about. It doesn't matter. Being obvious does not equal to facts, right? And it's not necessarily truth. We don't know. You don't know, and he has the right to stay not knowing too, right? Oh yeah, but he's a pastor in the body of Christ. It's different. The standard. One gentleman said, Mr. Allah, I know what you're talking about. I know, in law, you're giving legal advice. It's not legal advice. It's not wise to start talking about a rumor that your name is not mentioned in, just because the public is now believing in it. Yes, you're being tested, by the way. You're being tested. It's active test going on right now. Like, you should say something, because everybody's, like, the public in general are mentioning your name all over the place. But the one media platform that they can claim to be the source of this story did not mention your name. So now, because this is what they're saying, now because he's a pastor and he owes us, that's what they say, he owes us, the standard of Christianity, to at least deny. I said, that's you assuming that he didn't do it. That's an assumption that he didn't do it. I never said that. This is the third video we're doing on this series right now, right? I never said he didn't do it, because I don't know. I'm saying we don't know. That goes for both sides, right? Naturally, is this still chopping? You didn't tell me. You didn't update me now. Let me know if it's still chopping. Okay, everybody, I can see that 13 people are watching and not complaining, so it must be good. But let me know if there's still issues, right? We don't know. We don't know what we don't know, right? But so it leads me to wonder, like, are Nigerians fantasizing that this marriage is a sham, was a scam all along? Are Nigerians fantasizing about that, right? That's the question, right? Can you relate this back to our gross, unrealistic, unmanaged level of expectations on your partners? Never mind Banky W. Your partner. Your own partner. Thank you, Natu. Got that. I'm good. Thank you. All right? Can we assign this back to unrealistic expectations safely? Right? Okay, so you're assuming that your pastor did not do it. That's why you're asking him. Well, if he did it, that's too bad. Telenko, we know that. Remember, now we're talking about relationships from a power standpoint. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. Just in case you're wondering. Relationships, self-power, social, emotional intelligence, art of seduction and attraction. Right? You're assuming that they didn't do it. And now your anti-seductive spirit is creeping into this issue. Right and wrong obsessed. Number 10. See, how you behave in one thing in life is how you tend to behave in everything else. The only way you can think of issues is right and wrong. I listen, I do too. I'm human like you. But I dig a little bit deeper beyond that. A little bit deeper, right? It's obvious to me, I don't know about you, that cheating is wrong. We don't need long epistles on how cheating is wrong. It's wrong, it's wrong. Wrong is wrong. Stealing is wrong. Lying is wrong. Right? You can't say, hey, I was afraid of telling the truth, so it wasn't lying. No, it was lying. It was wrong. Right? But here's the issue. If you don't feel safe to tell the truth, right, you're always going to lie. For every time you don't feel safe to tell the truth, as a human being that you are, no matter how perfect you are, you're always going to lie. Right? If you're hungry enough and your parents don't feed you and there's meat inside of the pot, in the fridge. Okay? Every time you hit that threshold where you feel like I am hungry and there's meat and I'm not supposed to take it, guess what you will do? You will take that meat and eat it, and you will clean your mouth. And guess what we still call it? Stealing. Voila, stealing. Okay? The same thing with cheating. Right? Well, my wife wasn't taking care of me, so this nice looking young girl was giving me attention. I got weak. I fell for it. I made a mistake. I will never do it again. Huh?
Why the fuck you lying?
You will do it again. For every time your human brain gets in that space, right? You don't necessarily, at that point in time, somebody said you should have self-control. I said, no, that's not how it works. That's just half of the story. You're absolutely correct. Should have self-control. Should. Did you watch today's short? Should, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Fantasies. It's not the reality. It could be, but it's not yet the reality. For every time you get in that space where you need to survive, precisely you will choose to survive. And especially if we're talking about emotional issues. Is it right? Is it wrong? Whichever side you choose.
Well, you're right.
I think it's always wrong to cheat, steal, and lie. I'm okay with saying that. I don't have a problem saying that. But I also don't have a problem telling you that there's more to the story. All right? So somehow Banky is supposed to come out and tell us. And just tell us. Just deny it so that everybody, all Gen Zs, all the woke Gen Zs on the internet of Nigeria can be happy. Nah, bro, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. So in this space, while they were talking about this, some of the women were going heavy. Men are cheaters. They will cheat. The generalizations continued. They will cheat. Men cheat. They just kept going in and going in and going in and stuff, right? Now, if you listen to what I said in the last few minutes carefully, I didn't say men will always cheat. I'm saying cheat, steal, lie, doing all the wrong things. When it feels right, you will continue to do it. When it feels right, you will continue to do it, especially if you're in a space where it's just completely void, empty. You don't feel solid as a human being. You're in your low self-esteem, low self-worth. You will participate in bad behaviors. It's just what it is, right? So how do you make sure you don't? Just be righteous. No, that's the point I'm making. Righteousness is not good enough, okay? It's about positioning, right? Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're feeding self, particularly emotionally, okay? There's the other side to this. What can you do about your spouse not cheating? Most people will say nothing. Most people will say nothing. And I understand that. I get where they're coming from. 100%. I think you're right. That the cheater is the cheater. They should take full accountability for it. It's not your fault. 100%. But there's a big old but. There's a big old but. Okay? There's a part you play in that. Directly or indirectly, it's not the same thing as it's your fault. That's not what I just said. What I'm saying is that you happen to be part of the external environmental factors, right? And yes, there are some things you could do, okay? Not particularly for the other person. Maybe that's where we're confusing it. For your relationship, so that that division will never come in, right? That void will never creep into your relationship. There's a lot you can do about that. And you can choose also to disconnect from it, right? Why? Because every time somebody cheated on you, you're just a victim, right? It's a mindset. What I am talking about is not necessarily what it looks like on paper, but a mindset, right? When you engage your power, right, then it becomes what we call confidence. Confidence is what? Sexy, right? it becomes almost impossible for some things to just happen, right? Because it's like, why would I do that? Remember that analogy from yesterday? Was it here yesterday? I think it was here, right? Putting buying a BMW brand new X5 and then putting regular petrol inside of it, when you can increase the quality of petrol you put inside of it. Imagine you say, no, the engine is either good or it's not good, let me just put any kind of petrol inside of it, right? Right? How you see it is how you take care of it. How you see yourself is how you take care of yourself. How you take care of yourself is how other people tend to treat you. I intentionally put the word tend in there so that you can know that it's not 100% absolute, right? There are just people that are evil and they're mad. They're just not majority of people though, okay? But there are a lot of people. There are enough of them and they are around you, and if you don't know how to take care of yourself, you will attract them. Okay, because this one is a sucker. Let me take advantage of it, right? That's just how it works. Okay. Can human beings have self-control? Yes, but maybe hopefully you would agree that self-control is a little bit easier if the environmental conditions are conducive, right? You know, can agbado corn, can it germinate inside of any ground? As long as there's a soil, a little bit of even if there's no water, there's a soil, right? It will germinate. But if there's no water and the environment is not conducive for it, right, it will come out looking weird, right? Have you ever seen corn on a cob, right? And you're like, there's no corn on this thing, like it's nothing less, it's like just dry, right? Because the environment where it was germinated and grown, it wasn't conducive. It's the same thing with your relationship. You do have power, okay? You can't be a victim, but you do have power, and that's all I want to show you, okay? And how you use that power is everything, right? You can use it against your partner, or you can use it to get your partner on your team, and then you can fight the forces of evil, the one that's not flesh, right? Together as a team. It's completely up to you what you do with it. I would suggest the latter. Okay. Hey Tima, how you doing? I would suggest that. So they kept going in. They started to generalize. They were going in, yeah, somebody just outrightly said Banky is a cheater. Okay, they said Tools is a radio on-air personality. Let me see if I can find Tools picture. Tools and husband. All right, so the husband is best friends with his best friends. Is actually best friend, childhood best friend to what do you call him? Banky W, right? So that person actually said, allegedly, right? Person said, well, Tool's husband is also, this is Tool's husband right here. Captain Dimuren. Okay. He's actually a younger brother to a family friend here. This is the link that I had, mutual friends with Banky W. And the person was like, well, Tool's husband is a known cheater. That's what we heard in the streets. So Banky W must be a cheater too, right? Can you see correlation, right? Correlation becoming causation and becoming facts, right? And I'm like, okay, do you have anything else beyond that? Like, no, it's just hearsay. Oh, so he must be a cheater too. Well, it's true that birds of the same feather, they move together, right? I might have butchered that, but you know what I mean, all right? So there was a lot of things that they were just saying. It just looked like a lot of people are just hungry for negative rumors, and they will basically make it the thing, right? Another one said, well, somebody was there, well, why are they always posting pictures? Why are they always posting pictures? It's like they just want to pepper them. I'm like, it's like, May God save us from monitoring spirits. I was like, so they can't post. He can't post a picture of his family. Well, people should learn how to keep their family inside and not post. I'm like, says who? Says who? Just a rule that we made up. We just think he's a pastor. He should be a little bit more careful. And if this kind of rumor comes out, he should come out and debunk it. So this picture is too much for a young family to post. This picture is too much right here. T Alpha, how you doing? Miss you too. Miss you. Right? And then okay, so this was what, 3 hours ago? This who I posted this. This is what's peppering them. I just want you to pay attention to how people respond to this kind of stuff. Okay? I just want to pay attention to that. Say, are you a fan? Cause you blow me away. Applause. We are wrapped and shielded in his excess love. Love you, Baba. Wow. This is the part that's pissing them off. Okay. What about this one? Why they're just lying. This was posted when? 1 hour ago. Well, he edited it 1 hour ago, right? I guess he had it credit the church and all that kind of stuff. So they said it's on the website of the church as a pastor. Okay, good. And right? Okay. All these pictures are pissing you off. Okay, what about this one right here? If you see this, what's he gonna do? What are you gonna do? So they kept going in and in. They shouldn't post picture. Well, they're the one that cooked up how people see them. So people are disappointed, so they can be disappointed. The entitlement to other people's life just because they chose a career path as a celebrity could make sense now. It doesn't make any sense. Boarding the flight as I am coming back from my vacation on a cruise to the Bahamas.
You think so they're wise?
Are you here to pepper us? What are you doing, Chinye? I'm happy you went for a vacation, Chinye. That's good. Sounds good. Now you're making my mouth water. All right. I hope you enjoy yourself, Sha. All right. So they just kept going. Somebody says, I don't believe he did it, but I am disappointed in no accountability. What? Accountability to what? Oh yeah, he's a pastor. Since the rumor is just out there, like they should at least they said he was circling around the subject. So he didn't have any. So I'm guessing you've confirmed that he did not have any message to share on Sunday, right? He didn't have any message to share, right? He was just circling around it. Then the other person said, well, I don't know what they're peppering. Who wants that one? I don't want a local pornographist. Ouch. I was like, ouch. Straight bullet. Who was my own in this one? Right? A local pornographist. So the message he gave on Sunday in his church was about, I don't want to use the word because I think they demonetized us yesterday because of that. Right? Because he was talking about the prison of the word that, that rhymes with honor. Right? So they're using that word now to shame him. They said, well, you should say something. Whatever he says, I need you to understand this. This is from a power standpoint right now. Whatever you say will never be enough for the world. I just need you to understand that. And if you have to make a statement, make sure you're clear while you're making a statement and you have zero expectations attached to it. You have zero outcome attached to that statement. You're just doing it for the record. Like they call it for the record. Okay? All right, if you didn't do it, what's the big deal? You should say you didn't do it. No, I didn't say he didn't do it, number one. Number two, for all I know, he might have slept with somebody in a hotel 2 days before this news broke out. It's possible. I'm not here to give you la la land fantasy anything about the world. This world is not perfect. Okay? So maybe that person is now has some picture or something of him walking out of a hotel, but he knows for a fact they're not pregnant. But it's like, nah, let me slow down. I'm not making a statement. I don't even know what they're talking. Wait, am I the only yellow papa in Nigeria with a fine wife who is the whole world loves our marriage? Could make sense. But these are the people's expectations, and they wonder, they take this type of expectations, they take it into a relationship, and they wonder why they actually literally create the kind of worst case scenarios they fantasize about. You will attract what you fear the most, always. Okay? My wife and I, we don't post this kind of picture. We might have one or two out there in all of, God knows how long we've been on social media. We've been on social media from the beginning. 20 years or so, 18 years, 20 years, right? From the days of high five, high five into MySpace, right? We might have one or two. It's not a thing, right? But the thing is that we have enough that can become pepperdom for certain types of people. And it's, I guess I can understand it, but it's weird. It's weird for that to pepperdom anybody, right? And for people to be actively fantasizing about demolishing that marriage when there is no fact, no name has been mentioned. I think it speaks to the state of the mind of an average person in your dating scene right now. And it's something you have to just watch out for. Okay? Everyone has their guards up because they assume worst case scenario always. Including men now. They assume worst. I was just in the same room and a grown man was in there saying, these women are cheater. They are cheater. They are cheater. I'm going to get into that part of the story in a second. That's where the title came in. I'm moving on. Surprise! I'm moving on. Okay? We're going to get to that in a second here. Yeah. Let me see. So it's weird what people are doing to themselves out in the street. But it's the reality. How do you mitigate this? Because this might be you. You have fear. You have fear because of your experience. You're looking over your shoulder. You want to make sure. But how do you determine the line where you start shooting yourself on the legs? How do we know? How do we draw that line where I don't hurt myself in the process of building a castle around myself? How do I make sure that this castle I'm building around myself does not cave in on me? Because I tell you, fear is not necessarily a bad motivator. It might put you in a position where you can protect yourself. But to what extent? Because it's not an absolute. Fear will also hurt you. You can use fear to hurt yourself in that process. You know. But welcome, Chinye. Welcome. You would have volunteered to go in your hand luggage. Hope you had fun. I hope you had fun. Oh. We need to catch up. What about me? You know, you're not going to come up and tell us. You need it bad. I need one bad right now. Okay? Don't make me. Okay? Thunder key them with accountability. How do you ask people that his name has not been mentioned to come and be held accountable? Some people went to the extent of saying back in the days, they would tell them to sit in the back. Like they would tell them you can't go on the stage for now. Because of a rumor that never mentioned his name, they say yellow. You know how many yellow papa I know? With fine wife that everybody loves their marriage. Okay, granted, none of them was a musician turned politician. Okay? Desmond Elliott is not yellow papa. Granted. But there's nothing in that story that said it wasn't completely fictional. Right? The only thing you can hold on to is that Gistlover has broken some real stories in the past. And guess what happened to the people that tried to jump ahead of Gistlover? They are now clowns doing skits on the internet. And they completely use their own hands to destroy the reputation of his own family. Shout out to Yul Edochie. The last thing you ever want to do is jump ahead of the media. You can't beat the media. You need to stay in your own lane. Continue what you are doing. If it's that bad, after you assess things over time, you would consider if there's a need for a statement also. If there is a need for a statement. More than likely, there is zero need for a statement if you don't mention my name, your father. What are we talking about here?
Your daddy.
Your daddy.
There's no need for it. Oh, but it's like, to the body of Christ, body of Christ, body of Christ has out.
Sorry, yo.
Who is the body of Christ? You! That you are poking nose in people's matter, that you are turning people into idols on the internet just because they are showcasing highlights of their life on social media, that everybody has freedom to do whatever they want, right? Who is stopping the people that are doing like this on social media with drinks in their head at night, showcasing that the world has changed and people don't have to be married again? Is anybody stopping those people? So why would anybody have a need to like, oh, married people should, why? So you can feel better. That is weird. Okay. I learned he was supposed to treat that topic on Sunday, so there is no way to cancel it. Oh yeah, so apparently back in the day they would just say no, we're not going to do that. There's too much scandal around. Just say, have you finished with Pastor Fato Imbo's matter? Abi Uncle Sulele? Have you finished that one? They say, oh well, because it's a pastor. Precisely because it's a pastor. It does not need to make any random stupid statement because you want to feel better about yourself on social media. Precisely. And it makes sense that may not make common sense to you. That makes sense. But that's why he's Banky W. He doesn't need to make common sense. You need to make sense based on a few other criteria that you need to assess before you make stupid statements. Because you're trying to jump ahead of Gislover. You can't beat Gislover at what she or he or them does. You can't. It doesn't make any sense. Even if they mention your name, you have to take your time. Take proper time, assessment of the situation before you make a statement. Or you jump on a platform to come and run your mouth to control narrative. Well, if you're innocent, there's nothing to hide. Says who? There's always something to hide. Even when I'm innocent. Do you not understand that this is the real world? That this is a vicious world, it's a dangerous world. Imagine a world where nobody mentions your name and people are actively trying to pull down your family. Does that sound like a safe world for you? Where you could just jump out and say, let me deny since I'm innocent. They can use everything you say against you. Like they did. They called him a local pornographist. Imagine that. Accountability call, accountability knee. He was preaching about the weakness he was dealing with and was using it to, they twisted it completely around. They said he was basically admitting and basically saying it was his wife who helped him, and he's saying they were doing interpretations. That's what they were doing essentially. The idiot calling the P word is probably one. Yeah. This were mostly women though, just so you know. It was mostly women that were trying to drag Adesua and Banky W. It was sad to just watch. Honestly, when I was doing the last show and the first one we did about this, I was seeing people in the chat say people are dragged, but I was wondering where are they saying it until I stumbled into it today. I'm like, damn. Right? What he preached about has absolutely nothing to do with the rumor. Here's the deal. When you even the preaching he did, there's certain levels you get to that it's better you don't say anything, that you don't even preach. It depends on what is at stake. Because it's always a fact of life that people will say your words and they will attach their own BS on top of it, and they will create an interpretation. Basically, what they're trying to do is justify their own bias. It happens all the time. It's a natural human thing. Okay? So when you have a lot at stake, silence is never your enemy. Okay? Never mind what low, lame ass people will say, or you're just afraid you should say something. Never mind that. Okay? Silence for the most part is actually strength, because oftentimes you want to say something and slap a nonsense out of somebody. You don't slap the piss out of somebody, right? So it takes strength to be like, I'm triggered, but I'll be quiet so I don't mess things up for myself. What's up? Well, people cannot be lying about me. I need to say something. That's weak for the most part. If you are the type of people that say those kind of, have you heard? Listen, some of you are most of them, okay? I hear it a lot. That's a weak place to come from. Well, I can't let people just continue with bad narrative. That's weak. That's your weakness. Okay? Relax. You might still end up having to say something, but relax. Relax. I promise you. There will be another big story next week. I promise you. Okay? But it wasn't a big deal that I did the preaching. But I'm not surprised that they tried to twist the preaching into him admitting that. Yes, because he said the word hotel. Remember I caught that yesterday. Hotel. Like, pause. Hotel Bitibawo. No puns. Pun intended. Were you in a hotel room? You know, he said he will call his wife from hotel room. They said a guy who will need to call his wife from hotel room. If the wife wasn't available, who will he call? He was a cheater. That was basically the conclusion of these people. Just think about that. Ouch. Hey yo, abidi yo. Crazy. Go sogbon to le da, go siwa to le wo. By the way, how many people will want me to do like a music session? Would you be interested in a music session? If I move this keyboard here, put my studio mic, and I do a few things with you guys. Would you guys be interested? It will be all gospel though. Okay. Let me know if you'll be interested in seeing 1 hour of that. Okay. I don't want to bore you guys out. There's nothing that you can do to satisfy human beings. Okay. If there's anything close to it, maybe it's silence. That doesn't mean they silence you, but you just take advantage of it to learn them, master them, so that they can become the suckers, essentially. Okay? On your coffee break, say, if you put your life on social media, you have given us permission to take a cruise with it. That's a fact. I agree with that, which is precisely why they need to continue to give you permission to do cruise with it. You don't have to ask me to come and give you statement either. I don't owe you statements. I gave you permission to do cruise with what? My pictures, right? Okay, if somebody brings a rumor out about me, you have the permission to continue to do cruise with it. But don't come and tell me that I owe you explanation for a rumor that my name is not on it. My legal name is not on it. Even if you say Banky W, I'll say my legal name is not Banky W. Can you give me the full legal name? Banky Wellington. What's the rest of it? What other names am I known for? Mr. Capable. Okay. You know what? Still, I don't want to say Jack. I owe your papa because I'm a pastor. Your father. Oh boy, these people, majority of people on social media, respectfully.
You are a mumu man.
Listen. Anyway, I understand. That's just where we are right now. Yeah. So permission to cruise with that. I wish them well, but we're just cruising. Everyone should not take this seriously. Just have fun. I agree. But don't remember the topic today is asking him that he owes them some kind of explanation. Say something. Are you happy? Anyway, you can see I'm catching cruise too. Having fun on people's livelihood and expense is not a good thing. Well, they're celebrities. It's fair. It's a fair game. We're going to talk about fairness here in a second too. All right. It's a fair game. To whom much is given, much is expected. Somebody try to translate that to, well, he owes us because he's a leader. Did you just try to throw the word leader into the box? Get out of here. Leadership, this. You know the rest, right? Leadership.
These nuts. Got him.
Leadership of who? Of social media trolls, right? We literally just admitted to cruising. Leadership to who? Go right now. It's not right. It's not right. All right? Makes sense. Yeah, so, but it's fair, Chinye. They're celebrities, it is what it is. I hope they have the tools to manage it, or the resources, support to manage when this kind of things happen. But it's reality. That's why a lot of them go to depression. I still think it's fair. I'm sorry. I don't know this couple, but I was impressed on how much people love them and believe they are above life itself. I just like the fan me thing. I like that too. That's a good perspective. I like that people see that way, you know, like they were hoping that it would never happen. But I think it was your ecosystem, your algorithms were showing you the nicest people. I think many people saw the nastiest thing this last weekend. People really went in, concluded, and to be a below, I just noticed you're here. I just noticed that people concluded that he cheated. Like a massive amount of people. I think most of them are Gen Z people. These people. Emma Colette,
Sorry,
that mindset. Hello everyone. Someone dragged me for not believing the story. She said the sermon is evidence. I'm like, how? When? Voila. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. See, Atibi is exposed because of her reach, right? I knew she was gonna get something like that. It is what it is. Yeah, you nail it, Ola. People turn them to idol. That is the mistake. They are human beings too, and who cares? That was the number 4 ways that the devil is attacking, that I shared yesterday. Is the number 4th way that the devil is attacking family and marriage. Idolatry, right? People having unrealistic expectations of other human beings, particularly their partner, because they translate the same thing to their partner, right? So they're surprised, you know. So speaking of surprise, why did I come up with this surprise? And so the conversation continued, and then it translated into, so women, a lot of women, Gen Z seems like, we're basically saying, you know, men are scum. They were dragging men. I mean, like this, if you start dragging in one direction, my mind will start going the other direction. I'm like a devil's advocate. I'm start looking for, because that's usually something is off with that. Once everybody about to call it become like that, I just know something is terribly wrong, probably. And I start picking it up. My brain will start picking it up. So once they were going in like that, now to protect men were creeping. And then I'm like, okay, all right. But I know enough to listen long enough. Okay? Sorry about that. So I know enough to calm down and be patient, because people will tell on themselves. I never want to assume, because assumptions, I could be wrong, and then it just gets worse and bad, you know. So I just kept listening, and they were talking, and eventually the conversation switched to the other side, and a few gentlemen were like, well, it's cheating if you, those men were generalizing. It's just, one of them was like, women are cheaters. Women are cheaters. They are cheaters, and nobody can tell me nothing. Take this from me. This person that was saying this was actually a married man with children. He was like, men are cheaters. He was just generalizing, but I knew him already, so I know that's kind of like, that tend to be his talking point. So I'm not really surprised, right? So now the women now got into a position where they needed to be defensive. Say, well, if a man is not doing what he's supposed to do, that, as a woman, if I meet somebody and then, somebody better comes along. Now, a few minutes before that, there was one particular gentleman in there that was really defending the ladies. He was defending the ladies. He was like, no, men need to take a responsibility to be accountable to, and, and let's call, he said, he even called me out. He said, Mr. Ola, let's call a spade a spade. I was like, no, I'm with you. And I mean it. I'm with you. I'm just trying to get you to be, And I'm actually trying to see where we might be on the same page. It's probably a miscommunication somewhere. So, but I'm with you. It's like, yeah, keep going. And it's like, well, let's call a spade a spade. It was basically trying to say, let's call cheating cheating. I'm like, no, I'm with you. Cheating is cheating. Stealing is stealing. Lying is lying. Even though when you're hungry, when you took that meat in the pot, lale, ni 12:30 loru, you stole your mommy's meat in the pot. Because you're not supposed to. It's called stealing. If you cheated, you cheated. So the women now started telling some stories, and they were like, well, if somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to do, and you're not able to meet somebody, and then, you know, and a few ladies were telling those stories, and then you meet somebody, and, you know, the better person came along. You're not married until you're married. You're single until you're married. And some of the men were like, all surprised. That's where the title came, like, surprise. And they were surprised. These are men that claim to be red pill. I'm like, there's no way that you know what is going on in the real world, and you're surprised by that. And then they decided to go in and continue to say, well, I told you women are cheater. Women are cheater. So what was the issue with that? They got stuck on the cheating aspect of the definition. They just were busy trying to call it for what it is. Let's call it what it is. Right and wrong. It's right. You're right. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Well, the women are actively saying something. They were saying, if you're not a man, I might mistakenly move on with another man. On paper, right? You need to disconnect from that man before you even by any chance meet another man, to even be fantasizing at all about being with another man, right? On paper, right? That's because if you do anything outside of that, ladies, can we agree on this? If you do anything, I doubt if you agree, but if you do anything outside of, if you even fantasize, man, about this, right? That's cheating. That's called cheating on paper, right? That's cheating. Right? Well, we weren't really thinking about it. And then another lady came up and said, well, if a man approaches me and it's all business, and, you know, I think it's looking down on me if a man thinks of me as just objectifying me just off of romance. I was like, well, romantic interest is not looking down on you. That's, if anything, this is how men think. Let me just be honest with you. That's a compliment. That's the intention of that, is a compliment. I like this lady. I have romantic interest. No, I don't want to do business with her. I like her because I have romantic interest. The way she was sounding is like, well, I don't want anybody to just think of me as just as just my private parts. I'm like, private parts, romantic. I'm paraphrasing, by the way, but something to that effect. So anyway, they kept going, but the men were surprised that women in general agree, and they don't care about if you call it cheating or not. If you're not being man enough, even if it's not your fault, they can move on. Gentlemen, are you that surprised that when you're not up to par, not necessarily your fault, it's just that this is an active marketplace. As much as we don't want to compare, right, and compete, you're kind of competing, right? And yes, inside of marriage too, people say, well, it's different. It's only, she went on to tell us a story about this man that was mistreating her, right? This man was really mistreating her, and then she was, she met somebody else. She was already thinking about life. She got to a place, she was just like, this is over. And then one day the guy woke up. He woke up suddenly from his slumber, right? And then it was like, I decided that I want to take this seriously. I want us to take things to the next level. I want us to, and guess what the girl told him? The girl was like, she was telling the story earlier today. So like, well, I'm in a place, right? I'm not in that space anymore. And the guy was shocked. He was surprised, like, And she was like, well, I'm supposed to hang around. I was like, well, I'm not in that space anymore. Come to find out 2 days, no, just before they left that scenery, I call it a scene, right? He was on the phone telling someone that change of plans. And then she decided to inquire a little bit more about that, and he found out the guy was buying engagement ring. But she had left that space. She was gone. She's like, oh, I'm, the phrase she used was like, this boat has sailed on, something like that. And you let more content anymore. I want you born. Oh Lord, pressure.
Everything I do, I will. Pressure to what?
She was done. See, by the time a woman pulls the plug on the divorce, decide to file for divorce, or she's done with the relationship, she was done long before that. Should you define that as cheating? Knock yourself out. You can call it cheating all you want, gentlemen. The same thing goes for you ladies. Okay? But it's men that get surprised by this. I think women are kind of used to this type of thing going on. He's been cheating. I know men are cheating. They kind of weirdly used to that, which is bad on itself too, right? But men are really surprised when they find out that a woman can move on in this type of way, like where, well, she's fancying somebody else now, right? She likes somebody else now. In fact, she won't necessarily tell you if she still cares about you small. She won't tell you that she's fantasizing about a dude in the break room at work. She might never end up with that person, so she can't tell you either. But something tells her that I can do better. Better doesn't mean that you're not good enough for someone else, okay? Or good enough in general, or a good man. But for some reason, this marketplace where you're playing, this particular human being has determined that, ouch, yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired of whatever it is we got going on right now. You know, sorry for the noise. Let me see if I can get it. Sorry about that. All right, and to be so with some of these Gen Z, and may God help them. It's too late. Uma collect.
Sorry, yo.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bad. Okay, because even the few examples that they have left, they are. The mind is the mind is a very powerful organ. It's whatever you believe. Your belief system is how you interpret the world. They don't even believe it when they see anything good. Like if they are faced with modern men, when they see feminine women right now, they don't know how to recognize it. Okay, they are busy comparing with their mother from 1960, and they were never here in 1963. It's confusing for them, so they're confused right now. It is what it is, right? I know. You heard me, right? I know. I just say like, shut up, right? Modern men, right? Women, all men are scums. Just so you know. So it's possible that you can thrive and do well, but it's like pulling teeth. It's a very difficult thing. It's easier said than done. Let me just say that. You know, it's easier said than done. But it's possible. It's possible. You just have to immerse yourself in a new mindset. Okay. Any human being can cheat. That's a fact. Okay. They just need to have a void big enough. Okay. Precisely, especially if they've ever told themselves that will never be me, especially them. Okay. Especially you say, well, you can't speak for me, especially you. Yeah, it will sneak up on you. You ever heard that thing when people said they've mistakenly fall on Bola? Yeah, Tigori. One shelle. It doesn't mean it's not wrong, but one shelle. May God help you and your family and your household. Okay? All right. But there are stories. Nkombe. Okay, all right. Just so you know. All right, gentlemen, you too. Especially you, because Lema was surprised that a woman can move on. That women love sex. Men are a lot of these modern men are surprised that women love sex. Because she didn't have sex with you and she claimed, well, it's not really my thing. Is it food? So you concluded that she doesn't like sex. Yeah. Especially you. Surprise. I learned not to defend anyone some years ago when a friend I was defending told me one day that her husband understands that if she no gets enough money, she will cheat. Pressure wa.
Everything I do, I will. Pressure to what?
Every time I see something like that, I'm still like, ouch. Because I can't imagine what that man will be going through. So when you see them angry sometimes, yeah, you should understand. Some men have collected. Really, they don't collect badly. Right? So they can't see anything good. Some of them they're stuck in GSS2. Some of them is actually at the age of 55 that they, yeah. Right? I was just having a conversation with a friend 2 weeks ago. She was telling me about a 65-year-old gentleman approaching her, trying to talk to her. She's about 27 years old. Trying to talk to her, because she's divorced, has kids. And this guy basically told her his whole life story, everything that was wrong with his ex-wife and the family of the ex-wife, and how they went to Babalawo's house and all this kind of stuff. This guy cannot, at the age of 65, you don't even know how to handle a young lady. He can't even wait to share all of this negative news. So if he's remotely gone through something that made him feel that way, right? This experience is a powerful thing. That's why I said, put yourself out there, create new experiences, because it's still going to be your best teacher. I can coach, I can help you interpret what's going on in life, but your experience, you still need to take risk and put yourself out there and learn how to create better experiences. Because that's the only way you're going to clean out those bad experiences. Because those bad experiences will continue to control your life. Sorry. Okay. It's okay, you're a family man. The noise is understandable. I hear you. They're all the way upstairs, so I had to yell. But the microphone picks up everything. But thank you for allowing me to do a little bit of shalaye. Chai, the airplane Wi-Fi is not doing it, man. All I can see is comments and not the live. No, while I will have to watch replay. Well, it's okay. You're the one enjoying now. Mistakenly fall on Bola, it happens. Okay, it happens. So that's where the title came in. I'm about to round up right now. I don't know if anybody has, just in case anybody has an opinion to share or something. I'm just going to drop this really quickly one time. Okay, but this is particularly what I'm trying to allude to. The surprise. Where the surprise, or you can call it, let's call surprise disappointment. Where did that come? What does that come from? Where does disappointment come from? Disappointment. Where does that come from? What is the source of disappointment? You cannot have disappointment without what? You cannot have disappointment without. Anybody want to guess? You can't have disappointment without. Anybody want to guess? You can't have disappointment. Thank you, Toby M. Tribe. You can't have disappointments without expectations. Thank you on your coffee break. Okay. We all have expectations. We will have expectations. So the only thing you can do with that is to manage it. Okay. In fact, you will have unrealistic expectations because that's part of what creates our experience. Like, you inherently want life to be perfect. You want this to be paradise, right? Part of your selfish behavior, right? You want this all, like, everything is sweet. I wake up, everything goes smooth tomorrow. My husband is Pause. My husband is romantic. He can hear everything I'm trying to say at all times. There's no such thing as being oblivious in my marriage. In fact, he can read. He knows everything at all times. My wife is a feminine, submissive. All of that. Feminine. What's the third one they always say? Submissive. Feminine, beautiful, inspirational, FBI, unconditionally, right? Unconditionally. My wife is like, that's a fantasy, okay? It is conditional. Welcome to the real world, okay? The only source of unconditional love is God, okay? And particularly when you both subscribe to whatever your idea of God is, okay? That's the only source of unconditional love. Anything outside of that, okay? Anything outside of that, and you're looking for unconditional love, yeah, it doesn't exist. Okay, it doesn't mean you're actively in a transactional. Some people say that everything is transactional. No, not in that way either. There's no simultaneous everything transactional. It doesn't exist either. Okay, it's a dance. But at some point, somebody has expectations. What you can do with expectations is basically give your partner the freedom. Okay, give them the freedom to express their expectations and manage your own expectations. That's all you can do. Okay, if you do anything outside of that, yeah, that's collection plates.
Sorry, yo.
Yep. Hey, Adebusola, how you there?
Hello, good evening.
How you doing? How are you? I didn't want what happened yesterday to happen to you. There was a young lady. What's her name again? I forgot. It started with a C or something. She tried to come up. She was in the backstage for a while because I was covering something, and then so I said, "Let me pull you up right away because I know you probably have something on your heart." What's up?
I'm fine. Like, is the discussion about men being surprised when women move?
Yeah.
Especially when they feel like the woman is maybe a quiet one and all that. I don't know why they are surprised, because I feel like the only difference between like romantic relationship and normal friendship is just most of the time the romantic relationship is like fundamentally. Or maybe these days we cannot even say it's between like a man and a woman anymore.
In these days.
Yes. Okay, so like it's just like okay, what we say is the romantic relationship there? Maybe there's intimacy or that.
Yeah, sex.
Okay, but sometimes it might not be sexual. It might just be purely emotional.
Oh, for romantic, right?
Yes.
Well, that's not typical, right? Is that how many people in a 100,000 population would you think will be in a romantic relationship and it doesn't involve sex?
Like, I feel like it's more common these days than you can imagine.
Give me a number now. Give me a number. 100,000 people.
I don't have the stats. Like, I must be honest, but
if you were to guess, but you're saying it's a lot of people. So, can you guess?
No, I said there are people. I'm not saying a lot.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm not putting a number to it. So, like, I have this short story that I just want to share. Like, there was a time that I was in a relationship, and I have been, like, when you've been mentioning something, but in a nice way, like that you don't like this, and that.
You've been talking, but it wasn't listening.
Exactly. So, and like I notice sometimes when the talk is not aggressive and when you don't say it in an aggressive manner or it's not a fight,
right?
I think some men, they don't take it seriously. Like, I don't know why.
We don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know what I had done? I had broken up in my mind. I had cried. I had mourned the relationship.
Jesus.
I'd moved on. I even plan how I will break up. I break up. Somebody that I have never cooked for before in my life. Uh, the person called. All of a sudden, the person called me up out of the blue and said, "Okay, can you do this? Something that I don't do normally." I said, "I will." After making nice soup, stew, food, and everything, I just say in a nice way that I don't think I can do this anymore. I was done. I had cried. There was no more crying. Like I'd moved, and it's not because I found somebody else. I was just done.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Do you know that this guy did not believe me? He was like,
Yeah,
really?
because done with what? Women never leave men.
So like,
Where are you going?
I was sad done. Like I just decided that okay, I chose
Yeah.
myself. And this was not something that I did when I was older. I was very young. I think I was
Yeah.
maybe like it's not something, but I'd always like, even though I was young at the time, I had always known what I wanted. And if something does not align with my values, I make decisions about it. I don't just let anything just drag me along. So
Right.
like, it's when you were saying that they do, I actually agree that they do. Like when you tell them, they don't
You don't believe it.
And
Yeah, that's why it hurts. Like men going through breakup, women try to compare. You're like, you will never know, right? It doesn't mean you don't have your own experience going through breakup, but you can think about, consider frame of reference. There's a little bit of men are men anyway. Men don't say women are women anyway. When they find out that women can actually move on, it's a first for a lot of men. Like, they're like, no, that's not possible. My mom was with my father for 45 years. Where are you going? There's nothing out there for women. See, this is internal. This is subconscious, right? And you just said that you were young. Again, it's subconscious for women and humans in general, to be honest with you. When there's void, right? When it becomes some type of hyperbolic hunger, right? Like your soul is not being fed. Survivor, right? You might just move. You take a move at any point in time, because pain, pleasure, relief will get people to move.
yeah, I was just done because like at the time I was in college, and I felt like what's my primary aim in college is to study. I can't allow everybody
Come and be going.
to give me a headache. Come and be going. Let me face what I came here to do. And that was just the whole idea that I had. Nobody put it in my mind. Like,
Right.
it wasn't as if I was talking to somebody, because to an extent I'm a secretive person. I didn't tell any friend. I didn't tell any. I just made the decision and I was done. So when he was even trying to tell my friends to convince me, they didn't even know that.
Like, they were even surprised.
They were surprised. So
Do you know how many men go through that? Because they think like, oh, sometimes they will even blame the friends already. Like, it's the kind of friends you're right. And then when they talk to the friend, it's like, they're just confused.
So, like, and just because somebody moved on does not mean the person is not hurting. Like, I don't know why people don't realize that the fact that you're the one who initiated the breakup does not mean that you are not pained over like whatever it is that you've done on the in the course of how stupid you felt. You know, like sometimes you say, like, how dumb, like, why did I take that? Like, a lot of self-reflection. I don't know why it's like that, but I feel like people should get more aware about those things and not be surprised about and accept. And I don't know why it's a big deal for people to accept that someone is done with you. Like, it's as painful as it might be.
It's one of the hardest things for human beings to do is letting go. Just human beings in general, right? So you were on the dishing side. You were the one serving breakfast. So obviously you're disconnected from that, right? At least when you were serving the breakfast. But rejection is a tough thing, you know, and letting go after that is it's easier said than done, Sha.
Like, well, maybe I'm talking from my own perspective, because my first major heartbreak was not even a romantic heartbreak. It was friendship.
With you and a girlfriend?
Yes.
Oh, I know those. I've seen those type too. Women are dramatic. Oh, Benny.
You will not understand the feeling that that one everybody knew. All my family members, everybody was like, why are you so pained? I said, I'm
If it
pained.
was nowadays, they would say, what have you been doing?
Like, it's not because like I'm the only girl in my house, so I saw her as a sister.
Okay.
So when she showed me,
She
like,
showed you
Chege.
human being.
Yes. And you know the craziest thing? I think that friendship taught me a lot of things about life. It happened to earlier on in my life that I was thanking God that it happened, because I was so naive. I believe in right, wrong, no middle ground. Yes, no in between. Like, I don't, like, I never. So when that one, it's like it's very, very hard. So like, I can spot when somebody is being how will I put it? It's
When
not
they're being two-faced,
like,
there's a
can usually
potential
see
betrayal going on. You can smell it.
yes, I can smell it, and once I notice and I discover that this thing does not align with what I believe in my mind, I'm done. I'm done with your ass. Like, whatever you are now saying, like, I just tune out. So like, I've received it, I accepted it, even though it pained me, and a lot of people start consoling me. But at least, and I kind of believe like sometimes things are put in our life just to help us and shape us, and
Do you think that taught you, that made it easy for you to let go too? Just because you experienced that early on. Do you think that made it easy for you to let go?
Yes, I think it changed my perspective about life. For instance, I don't believe that being in a relationship is a do or die affair.
Do or die, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yes, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like,
Yeah.
so what? Like, I just accept that it happens and that is life. And when I say these things, like, my friends feel like, are you crazy? Like, it's just like something that I just accept things. And I just make plans in my mind on how I'm going to move on. Like, I don't just start wait. Even though it's painful, I will tell them I'm pained. So they are shocked. Like, I say it's painful, but I've accepted it and I've moved on. Like, I don't just stay there and start wallowing. So they will be like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
I was like, you need to say my first.
You've been through it.
Like, yes, I've been through it. So
that's
like,
experience again. Experience, yeah.
So, but at that time too, that's when I realized that when that thing happened earlier on, that was when I realized that you don't have to experience something to learn.
Right.
Like,
right. Well, you did have to experience it to learn.
I don't think so.
You had a breakup with a best friend.
Well, like, the reason why I'm saying this is because that was what that experience taught me. You know how you see two friends that fought and they never talk to each other again, and in your mind are thinking that can't be me.
Right. You're like, that can't be me. Like, what is that? It's never that deep, right?
No, like, I can't do that again because it can be me. That's what I'm saying now. You see,
wait. So it can't happen to you again because you've been through it.
No, it's not that it can't happen. It can happen to me. That's the difference.
It can happen to you, but yes. What?
But then I'll put myself in the position that if it happens to me, what will I do?
Right. So is it easier for you to let go if it does happen again?
Exactly. You know how people are saying, okay, like, this person did this, and that. You know how some people, they say, I will never accept that.
Yeah.
I don't say that anymore.
Yes, like, exactly.
I'll be like, if this thing happens to me, what will I do? That's the question I keep asking myself when I see other people's experience.
How would you respond to that if it happens again?
So I will have had like an idea of what I would do in a situation, even though it might not be totally true. But I think it helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you can imagine me planning a fight. In my mind, I'll be like, these are the things I wish. Outside that, I'm just going to sit in my femininity and cross my leg. Yes, and after I've said what I said, if the like shouts to insanity, that's what I want.
Right, that's all part of letting go, because I tell people all the time, I said, because this is directly translated to when somebody come and ask you for a divorce. right? Somebody come and
Yes.
ask you that, well, I have to move on. Or somebody says, well, I work for you, but I found a new job, and somebody that you really like. It's happened to me multiple times, and every time it still hurts, but the way I handle it gets better because I
Mm-hmm.
have expectation now that the people that work for me, they don't work for me forever. They might just leave.
You won't.
Right.
And
So two
that's
two
one of the
weeks
laws.
2 weeks notice is never enough, right?
Some people don't
So
even give up to that. They just up and leave. And like
exactly.
it's like one of the rules of entrepreneur. Like somebody used to say that no worker is irreplaceable. Like don't believe that this
Now
person
everyone
is
is replaceable.
replaceable. Everybody is, and
Everyone
you
is
always
disposable.
exactly, and you
Yeah.
always find someone that will do the job, even if that person doesn't do it again.
Yeah.
And you don't just apply that to like businesses alone. You can as well apply it to life.
Yeah.
Like if this person does not do this, I believe whatever you believe in, whether the universe or God or anybody, you
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
somebody my way that we do it. So like I think that period of the friendship breakup actually helped me to
Yeah.
reflect.
It's a what it does is that for if you're lucky, because some people go to the extreme opposite end of it, right? What it's supposed to do, hopefully, is to help you build an abundance mindset. As in, like, if this one no go, maybe God is opening another door.
Some and it's not
You
like
know,
maybe it's the way universe
that's
is. Like
literally what
everything
it
is a
is.
cycle.
Right, right.
Like
Yeah.
something else will happen. So I just feel like people should have that kind of mindset more.
Yep.
And if something does not save you, you don't have to stay there. Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
You will see friend that keeps maltreating another friend, and in the name of um I don't even know what it is. People will just stay there and get maltreated constantly.
Yeah.
Like you have to just set boundaries for people in general, not even a relationship.
Yeah.
Otherwise, these things will keep happening to humans. So like I realized that the hard way. It was very painful. When I
Yeah.
was telling this person what was killing me in the friendship, it was in a lighter mood. And she bold-faced told me I either take it or leave it. And I left it because I can't take it.
Because you
So
can take
like
it.
I
Yeah.
listened. And when people tell you, like for instance, maybe when you are earlier on in the relationship, and the person and you are telling the person that you like the things you do makes me sad. And the person jokingly tells you that if the things I do makes you sad, go and look for somebody that will then you listen to them and go. I don't know why people still stay there and keep taking it. When somebody keeps telling you if you don't serve you, you can't leave. Like people, if you listen very well, people just tell you their intention. Like
Yeah.
like you have to just listen and pay attention to what people say.
They tell you,
So,
and in this respect, in this conversation, in this context, right now, I said it in that conversation earlier. I said, well, women don't lie, men don't listen. Somebody's gonna hear that and say I'm saying women are perfect because they are just that lame. It's okay.
no.
Women are not perfect. What I'm trying to say with that is what you were just saying, which is people will tell you their truth with their actions. They might even say it in words.
With their mouth, yes.
But because you are so hell bent on a certain
idea.
direction, idea of a you
What
can't
that thing is.
you can't hear because you don't have an abundance mindset. You must hold on to this, or we call it 190s. Some people think that one person is for them. TB was talking about it the other day, where
soulmates.
soulmates, soul ties, all this stuff will tamper with your sense of abundance mindset.
It will.
There are
It will.
options. If somebody is not treating you some type of way, if the best position for negotiation is to be willing to leave and mean it, if you can't
yes,
do
and that is
that,
your power.
that's
You
your
have
power.
to be able
They will
to
continue to take advantage
limit.
of you. They will take you
Yeah.
for granted because and it's not necessarily that they see that they're, but they can't see because there's no pain attached to how they're treating you right now. If in fact there's pleasure, you are there, you're hanging out with them, so there's no indication that what they're doing is wrong. And some people, you use your mouth to tell them, they can't hear it because they're not listening. You know how you're talking to somebody, they're not listening, right?
I just remember a story. Oh my days. Like there were these people they've been dating for like maybe 5 years. So the lady felt like the guy was stringing her along. So They were having a general conversation among friends, and everybody was there.
Right.
And the lady was telling the guy that he was with that by this time next year I should be married. And the guy was like, I'm not ready. And she told the guy,
Okay.
I'm not talking about you. Like whether you are ready or not. I was
Guess what just happened in that moment? And a moment later, he woke up. You know what I mean?
yes. Do you know that they started fighting? Like it was like an out like picnic among friends. So that one was just talking, like she was so excited. She was like, in my mind, like by this time next year, I should be married. The guy was saying, oh, I'm not ready. She said, who is talking about you? Like I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
Like whether you are ready or not.
Before you know it, you start digging through the phones.
Do you know that was when I knew there were people that are even worse than me, like in the way they think.
That was cold. That is cold.
It was cold.
Anxiety.
Yeah, because everybody was there. She now told all of us that, do you know we've been together for 5 years? What are we doing here? He's not leading anywhere. So I think she just came up with
taking his time.
idea.
It's taking his time.
Yes, and that one was still thinking he was shocked. Like he was
surprised.
He was yes.
Yeah.
He was surprised that the lady could say such thing to them. After
Yeah.
you said that one said yes. Oh yes, like I said that. So like when you were saying that, I was just smiling like I could see one or two things of how people will do things.
Yeah.
And people will not just listen, not just see the key. Some people say they are deliberately maltreating their partner so that partner will leave.
It could be.
People are wicked.
But it's usually not the case. Majority of the case is just being oblivious. It's especially in a marriage. You're there, you're saying the thing, they cannot hear you, but they can't
They're not listening.
They can't relate the way you can relate to whatever it is you're talking about. They're not listening, right? And that's what I mean by women don't. So when I'm preaching to men, particularly, I say women don't lie, men don't listen. It doesn't mean that there are no women that lie. What did she say is, what do you mean? Right? Remember you asked me yesterday, what do you mean? What I mean is that she's telling you right now that you can call it cheating if you want. If you're not paying attention, right? You said you didn't have to get with somebody else. Some people, a void has to be replaced. You might do it in a healthy way.
Yes,
you might be young enough, right, to do it in a healthy way. Some people are in a place where something else was what took that covering of their eyes, like, I can do better. The key word being better. Better doesn't mean you're bad. It means something else is better than you based off of this person's perspective. Yes, they could be wrong. Yes, they might suffer later on. It might be a wrong move. But they will leave you first before they find out. And your family may be broken first before they find out. Okay? Who is wrong? I don't know. You tell me. Whoever you think is wrong, I am with you. Okay? But that's not...
You're right.
But that's not what we're talking about. She left you.
Wow. You know another thing that is common these days compared to back in the days? Women, some women don't fight for custody anymore. They let you have the kid. Like, it's crazy.
They say,
They just want to leave.
They just want to... Anything else is better.
Yes. So if I say, hey, I will not let you see the kids. Well, they'll be like, you can have them.
You can have them.
Come visit.
There is that. There's the one that will fight you. There's everything in between.
Yes.
Right?
But no,
all of it exists.
Like back in the days, most people say, like, I will never leave my child. I don't know. Like, there's this mentality with, like, the women.
It's the social construct. The mothers. A mother would generally, social construct. But they're learning something new. On it. You have more and more people that are saying, you know what, I'm the man of the house. Okay? You have more and more people coming up with new, like you were saying earlier, more and more people are saying, you know what, my wife was just sending word to me earlier, some group of people that get together in New York City, she said she gave up on sex about 3 years ago, and people ask her, what does she do? What she does is she just gather around with friends and they eat and eat and eat. And that's how she replaced sex. See, in my head, I can't comprehend that because I love sex. But they exist. Okay.
Wow. They just make up their mind and that's it.
As long as there's a community, what they do is they will build a community around it. There's more people that will relate to whatever that pain is. They will have a support system. And then somebody, like my father some years ago said, there's no such thing as gay in Nigeria. He doesn't say that anymore, by the way. But he said that. I'm like,
Wow.
Okay. All right. There was no such thing. Back in those days, my father went to CSC grammar school in Akure in the 60s. So he can't comprehend the idea. You know. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I think
What did you call that?
I said it's
where?
CSC grammar school Akure. Did you hear me? Am I lagging behind?
Yes, I can't really.
Can you hear me now?
Maybe it's me. Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, I says he went to CSC Grammar School Akure, so they were in boarding school, and back then in the 60s, their hostel, the dormitory would be far. They actually have to walk distance to get to the classes, not like when we went to school, you know. So, but it was still considered boarding school, you know, back then. And you know, so he just believed there's no such thing as two men poking themselves from behind. It's the strangest idea to like this is madness.
You cannot fathom it.
He can't fathom it. Like it's just, you know. So when me too, up to now, because of the way I was raised, there's certain things that I can't say in public, but I'm like,
you can't say this. You'll be dragged.
You know. But because I've also learned, unlearn, relearn. Shout out to Auntie B, right? Listen, if the mind can conceive it, it exists. It exists. Even when it's physically not possible, people will create it in their head and they will hide in the cave and continue to fantasize about it until they're done with life.
That's interesting.
You know, so that's just the world we live in. But yes, men, social constructs still, you know, they're very surprised when men know, and they know that these things is a reality. It's oftentimes what you see that they call red pill. Somebody told them the reality of human beings. Like human beings inherently want to be women. Let me say women want to feel safe, secure, and loved. And if she doesn't feel safe, secure, and loved, it's not necessarily your fault. She just may not be that guy. She will leave you, okay? But can you at least try to make her feel safe, secure, and loved first before we worry about if you're not that guy? Most of them don't even try. They just like, no, she should just be an adult. I was like, well, if she use the same thing and flip it on the end, right, where you say men just want peace, right, and she goes, well, you should just be an adult. Right?
Well, you know, like when I hear those words, like men just want peace, what does it mean? Because like I don't understand. Like you want peace, somebody is telling you something that can give you peace, you are rejecting the premise. Like okay, maybe you are in a relationship with somebody who does not like, who is kind of neat, maybe not neat freak, but to an extent, person is neat, and all the person require. Maybe the old framework has.
Just clean up after yourself, right?
Yes, and you know when you see boys, even my brothers, sometimes they do it. Like when we're growing up, like when there is a laundry basket, they won't throw their clothes inside the laundry basket, but they will put it around it.
I'll put it the next thing to me. Basket? The next thing to me. You just can't see my side right now. I don't have my dirty laundry here, but I'm just saying there's a couple of t-shirts here. Just being honest with you, you know.
So why do you put it around? Why does it drop it inside? My mom will go ballistic. Like, why can't you just put this thing inside the basket? Why is it on the floor? Why do you have your shirt? Like, and you are in a relationship with somebody and you say, there's a difference between being organized and being neat. I beg, Ejo. What do you mean? They will tell you there's a difference between being organized and being neat. I'm neat. I'm not just organized.
Yeah.
I'm not dirty. So like
people will justify BS.
It's crazy, and it's more common than you think. And some people allow
It's
it to
all of
drive them
us to a
crazy.
large extent. It's all of us. It's just that some people are messier, and some people it just ends up being their trigger. Like I could, like there are ways in my own life, in my wife, that she said, "Oh, you did this again." I was like, "My bino," right? And she's okay with that, right? And there's some people that one same thing, right, is just a bad pet peeve for them. It gives them panic attack. It sends them to another place entirely, right? So it's just about learning those things and not comparing to another person. Your partner's threshold, pay attention to it. They might actually need help too. Some people are OCD at that level. They might need help, you know. But to just be in denial about they should just be an adult, I was like,
But I felt like all this religious organization, they don't help matter. You know
yeah,
how
I agree.
they won't tell you like the things. They will just be telling you the thing in one bogus statement.
They'll
You know
just say
how
what it should be. You should be
you know
you should love each other. I'm like, we knew that.
how do you love each other? You should give practical example of
Yeah.
those people that have been like in the relationship before, so that we can say, okay, this is a template. This is a framework that I can supposedly follow. Not just tell women to submit. What do you mean by submit? Like,
Submit to
that's not
what? What is the framework here? What is the frame of
what are you
reference?
submitting to? They won't tell you, and some people that are so dogmatic that they don't question things in their mind. They just follow that thing like that. Be in a relationship, be suffering, just because they've been told, like from when they were young, and the teachings that they've had, they be like, I have to submit, but I have to submit. Even when they are under being abused, I have to submit until it gets to an extent that people be like, why didn't you talk? They be like, well, I'm just being a good Christian girl. Like I don't have to say things that happens within my home to other people. But that's not like, I don't understand. Like I don't know why religious organizations are not helping, and I don't know why, especially Christians.
They don't know any better, so I don't even hold them accountable, right? Because I'm like, okay, a lot of these guys, some of them, they learn the same concept from their senior pastor or their daddy Gio, and they just repeat it. And so a lot of, anytime anybody is teaching relationship from religious standpoint, that's why my wife and I, when we started back in 2018 to coach on this stuff, we were like, let's talk to some, because we're church people. So like, at one point, like, no, let's leave the church out of this, because what they're teaching is completely not practical, right?
But like, even if they teach that, like even if they want that framework to work, there are like rules of engagement. Like you can imagine somebody, like a man that wants a woman to submit, telling the woman that sometimes men learn on the fly. So why will you submit somebody that is learning on the fly?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you want the person to lead you into a ditch. Like you are learning on the fly. What do you mean you are learning on the fly?
Well, the reality is that, in fact, even in tech, I don't know if you work in tech. Even in tech, that's the reality now. What do they call it? Iterations, right? They call it iterations. You learn as you go. Yeah, like the agile framework. Like you can only know so much, and you leave room for improvement into the future, and you work in a collaborative effort and all this kind of stuff. And back in the days, I'm talking project management now. Back in the days, you have to know everything up front and build it out like a bridge, right? Like imagine the project managers who built out George Washington Bridge, right? In fact, that one you have to know, because people's lives are involved. You need to make sure that the bridge is functioning, right? And lay that out before you start building it. But because today the other type of leverage that we have is code, right? Coding, computer. You build as you go, right?
Then you consider, then when you're building, you consider the user requirements. Like
yes.
When you keep the user requirements, you keep putting it into this
right
thing.
But you keep engaging, right? But you keep engaging stakeholders.
You, engaging. You can apply the same logic in relationships. So
same thing.
Why people don't get it.
Yeah, because emotions is nobody's mate. Once your emotions don't enter, it's another story entirely. Because
emotions, do you think emotions should trump someone's value?
So it's emotional intelligence, not emotions. It's emotional intelligence is different from emotion. Emotional intelligence means you understand that there are emotions, and you learn how to mitigate the risk of emotions, right? So emotions is a given. It's like rain and sunshine. We all speak out of our feelings. We do out of our feelings, our engagement. The things we want from an emotional standpoint while we do what we do, right? So operating out of your emotions is like that's the one you're talking about. That's the one we don't want to do, but it's not enough just that you're not operating out of emotion. You need to understand that even though you're not operating out of emotions, the people you're engaging may be operating out of emotions.
Out of
you
emotion,
need to know.
I need to give them grace. Okay,
Grace,
But how much
managing
grace do you
that.
give? How do you?
It depends. It depends on what we're talking about, right? So don't pour from an empty cup. How's that?
Okay.
If you don't have it, you don't give. You can't give it. Don't try to give it if you don't have it. You let go of an employee if they're not delivering. A partner. When it comes to a partner lifetime, you have to consider that there's family involved. You have to consider that your emotions are caught up because it's romantic relations as well. No matter how much you try not to be emotional, it is your emotions are caught up as well. You need to factor that in. That's why sometimes you back off. Just take some time off to the corner. You don't have to address what's going on right now because the only thing you're losing in real time is your need to be right. That's okay. You can let go of your need to be right for a moment, right? Because nobody can see clearly. We're bickering. We are all over the place, just messy, right? And it's a very difficult thing. The fact that it's difficult to disengage from that emotion is how you know that that's probably what you need to do. That's the work, right? Disengage from it. At work, you don't have to do so much of it because what people want is their paycheck. So you can use that as a point of leverage. At home, even if you cut your wife a check, it's like tell her and call you, are you not supposed to be a man? And that will now tamper with your emotions. There's a lot going on. So you better have a lot more patience. So I would say for men, I tell men, you need to have infinite patience. But now here's where they will question me. They will say, infinite, I'm human being. I say, well, the patience is for you. It's for you. It's not for the other person.
But do you think all those things happen because of the way men are socialized, like from when they were boys? Because there are some basic things that I feel like, even though there's some outliers that I feel like maybe women knew, they're kind of prepared. Like, when they keep telling you all men cheat, in a way, what they're telling you is, even though you know in your mind that you won't accept it.
Yeah, I accept it though. I'll just want to tell me more of the story. That's all. I'll accept it first.
So they'll be like, okay, so what do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah, tell me the rest of the story.
The society, the way they socialize boys. Like, I don't think in my own house we were socialized like that. Because but
your house didn't socialize. Not just your house socialized them. The society also socialized them, right?
Hey, but that's when people need to imbibe a kind of a level of self-esteem in their children. You know how I remember when I was still very young, I've never drank in my life alcohol. So I now went to a birthday party. Do you know that my friends and everybody that were in that party were making fun of me?
Of course.
When everybody was taking alcohol, I took soft drink. In my mind, I'm thinking that even if I'm going to drink for the first time, it has to be a safe place, not in a party.
I know.
And I did not.
You probably thought you were going to get pregnant if you drink one shot.
Not even that.
Okay.
I'm thinking of my safety. I'm at a
your
party.
safety. I understand.
Yes.
I understand.
That's what my mom used to tell me. You've not done something before. You are in a place with a bunch of strangers. They are now daring you to do what you've never done before. It's stupid for you to I was just in my mind saying, call me anything.
But that's the experience. The fact that it's stupid is the experience. It's like marriage. People try to protect themselves before going to marriage. It's like, it's not possible. You're missing out on life and love.
So you feel like I should have taken the...
Yeah, you're a party pooper. You need to take a little bit of shot or something, even if just a little sip.
That's what I would never do. If I've done it before, I know. I've heard stories. Prior to that time, I've heard stories of people that were lured into. That's what I'm saying. Experience, learning from other people's experience.
Yeah,
people that were lured to parties. They got them drunk. They left.
Those are the unfortunate situation. I went to so many parties.
I'm not trying to path of caution. I beg. I'm human.
I understand, but I'm telling you, the thing is that, I like that you did that. Because me too. I'll tell you what. I did everything else that you could think of that a young man can do wrong. Guess what I didn't do? Up to literally 12 years ago. I'm 43 now. So 12 years ago would be when I'm 30. I was 33 or 34 at the time. So maybe 10 years ago, I did everything that you could do, like everything you said don't do, I did, except this one thing, because I was raised in a Pentecostal setting in my teenage years. I didn't drink. A grown man. So one day I did a test, and my doctor sent me to the lab, did a test. He said you're low on good cholesterol. You need to drink some red wine. Okay. Me, I'm a grown man, no. Right? My own younger brother is 40. He's 40, 41, 40. I'm confused. I went in 2023. He's 40 now. He drank before me, right? He's the one that got me hooked on Long Island iced tea. I love Long Island iced tea. Now I've tried a few things since then. I drink a little bit now if I'm out, but as I started as an adult. So my point there is that, like, what?
But wait, do you miss it? Do you miss the fact that you didn't drink earlier?
Not really. I you don't miss what you don't know, right?
But you know some people do. Like, let's say for instance,
I don't feel like I miss it. I feel up to today I don't drink like a maniac, because I'm like, no, I need to be sane at all times. I'm an entrepreneur. I feel like I need to be sane at all time. I feel like there's no need for me to go in that zone. What am I testing, right? But yeah.
But let's maybe at a function and just want it shares to, like, they just give you guys a glasses, like a razor glasses.
I take shot. I drink Smirnoff. I will drink some Smirnoff, anything sweet. I'll drink. So it's really the sweet I'm looking for. And now I can't even drink sugar too much. I control sugar because I don't want to be dealing with sugar issues.
Okay,
10 years
but
from
what
now.
if you are in the midst of people that are laughing at you? Like maybe they say, "Hey, you're not man."
I think that's a woman thing. I don't know. Some men do that, but for me as a man, you can't laugh at me with what I don't. I do what I want to do.
That means you have like internal locus of control.
Yes, and I think to your point, it has to do with how I was raised.
Exactly. Is it really how you were raised or what you've become? Like, for instance, some people believe that since they didn't do it, once they are free, like maybe they go to college.
There are some things you can miss out by being too stiff, by being up anal, and you can let loose a little bit. There's some things, if that's what you're looking for me to tell you, gentlemen need to listen to this, because some of these men that are engaged in these relationship topics are lover boys who just think everything should be straight lines, and that's why their wife leaves them, because they're boring. There's some things you can miss out on if you're stiff-hearted and just anal. Let loose a little bit.
But isn't it okay? Like, let's say, for instance, there are some people that don't do certain things and they don't miss not doing it. They don't regret not doing it.
That's fine.
They just answered that. Like, that was, like, if you...
As long as within social intelligence, you understand the social intelligence as part of things, right? Like me, I don't like hanging out in public places too much, but I know I need to network.
Yes, you have to.
You get what I'm saying? But it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't want to do any of that kind of fake stuff. But you have to network. Right?
Okay.
This is the balance. This is the balance.
Now, this brings me back to the issue of men again. Do you know there are some men that cheat to please their friend?
No, he just wants to cheat. It's not okay, so what do you mean by cheating, first of all? Let's first of all unpack that.
Like they're in the group of friends, the young guy with a group of friends, all of them all have side chick. He's the only one and they keep. Like, if your
friends that you hang out from time to time cheat, you're going to have to convince me that you don't move in that same way too. Yeah, you have to sell me on that. It's going to be hard to sell me on that, because it's true that birds of the same feather, they flock together. They are my friends because I love participating in similar activities. For the most part, there might be one or two things I don't do with them. Like, for example, if I go out to a bar to hang out, let's say I end up in a strip club because one of my friends is doing something, there's a point in time that I'm just going to excuse myself, right? And if I keep coming back to the same strip club with my friends every weekend, and I claim I don't irony.
But like I know women do it too. But like I don't feel like I work with like teenagers, like and people that like are crossing over. I discovered that they do things just because their friend do the same thing.
Peer pressure is a real thing, if that's what you're talking about. peer pressure
So
is a real thing, but it doesn't exonerate you from you want to. What you're talking about is that we get influenced to do things we wouldn't normally do 10 years from now. At some point, you grew interest in it and you're doing it, right? If that's what you're talking about, yes. Peer pressure is a real thing. You keep hanging around people participating in bad behavior. Eventually, you will find justification in participating because that's what makes it fun too, right? While you're doing it together. So it just depends. There's so many nuances to that, right? But if it's a consistent basis, you're hanging around people doing something you don't want to do. Are you sure you don't want to do it?
I don't know. Like I have this. I don't want to call it fear. Like for like boys, like I don't know why, because like it's crazy, but for boys especially, like the one that got me scared the most.
Yeah.
There was this. It has been happening consistently, but this one landed the boy in the hospital. So apparently they mixed a couple of drugs together.
Okay.
And put it like in maybe drink, and they told this boy that they dare him to take it. Like, why is it that boys, men, even not only boys, when they are dare to do something, why do they feel the need to do?
Yeah,
like,
it's not all boys. And I know you're not saying that.
Does it prove that they, like, I feel like you are stronger?
So there's a part in the scripture. Are you a Christian?
I am.
There's a part in the scripture that says, teach your child in the way of the kinikon, and when they won't depart, right? That scripture is a very strong scripture to a large extent, because to a large extent it's true. There's some values that you instill in your children. Doesn't mean they won't make mistake, right? But it will represent a form of guide, right? Now, you might raise 5 kids together and there's one of them that's really, really acting funny, moving mad, that will engage in such activities. That does exist too. That's why we call them the exceptions. But for the most part, the value you instill in your children will not leave them. It doesn't mean they will make mistakes. It just means it will represent a form of guide to guide them through life. And they probably won't find themselves in certain arena because of the way you've raised them. You see what I'm saying? So, but I would be careful with generalizing that, particularly if you're a parent, and even my 2 sons that I'm raising here, I treat them differently. I respond to them differently because they have 2 different personalities, right? And one of them is very, very. If daddy said it's supposed to be this way, that is going to be to a fault. I'm like, no, I want you to also. What about
push
this
back?
Yeah, like have some nuances. You can also, or you can, if you're not sure, come and ask me, right? The other one, we test the other thing first before you ask you the older one, the one that just turned 15, right? And so I have to respond to them differently. It's the same thing. I don't think it's a boys thing. I think men still built our society, the facilities that we use, right? And it takes a lot to do that, from a standpoint of physicality, bridges, and stuff like that, right? The majority of this type of dirty works and stuff like that, it takes a lot. Men have weaknesses in certain arena. Yes, when they're hanging out with a friend, not just men. If you are around certain types of friend and you're comfortable with them participating in certain behavior, because you're a human being with opolo in your head, right? It's only a matter of time before your brain starts softening up and justifying, maybe it's not that bad. Then you hear things like, okay, how many times have you heard people say that it's bad behavior? They're just like, okay, all right, but they're getting value, the societal, community, my friends, a sense of belonging, significance. They're getting that value, and that value is overwhelming the cost that it used to be in their brain that I shouldn't participate in that behavior. It's only a matter of time before they start participating and actually enjoy it. Yes, guilty pleasure, you're right. But it's particularly because they're together with their friend. There are some people that can test things like that and get away with it. Like some men will smoke weed.
The first time they will try it, yes.
Yeah, some men will smoke weed with friends and they're not going to do it when they come back home. Some men will do it and become a crackhead 6 months from now. You don't know if that's you. Why would you want to test it? If it's something like, gateway drugs and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's tricky, but that's the experience of life. Don't be so afraid. Sometimes you test things out, and don't be
like
so...
it's scary out there.
Yeah.
Another thing. Do you think that parents are overprotective of their boys?
What parent? Nigerian parents, American parents? Which one are you talking
Generally.
about? Americanized Nigerian parents? Which one?
Even Americanized, like generally, because I've seen it in both worlds. Like, do you because I feel like don't you think that parents should tell there was like truth? Especially, see, do you know why I'm marrying on boys? You won't understand.
No, tell me.
2 boys
recently
died. Like in this because they were there to do things that they've never done before.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if
it's a conversation that we just, like, for us, because my wife panics about boys too. It's a conversation that I have.
Feel like they need to tell them. It's just like, the way the world is evolving in terms of all the sexuality and stuff. Like, even though you're a Christian and you taught your children Christian value, I feel like you should let them know that this thing exists. So
that part, right? That's a tricky one, right? If I need to teach my boys that in very explicit ways, your fear is probably happening already.
Not like in explicit ways. Okay, you know how I told you that I don't drink,
right?
And the first time that people were trying to peer pressure me into drinking, in my mind I felt like something I have not done before, like in a safe environment. Why will I come and do it? Like, don't you think like we need to like tell, like?
But you didn't want to. That's a very important part of the equation. The fact that you didn't want to is a very important part.
But I felt like I didn't want to because that was the way I was raised.
Yes.
I never saw my dad and mom drink.
Yes, it's like I completely get you. Yeah, but so you're saying it came from the way you were raised, right? So if we train our boys a certain way, they won't depart from it, right? That's true. It's not an absolute when that story is being told, right? You will, if you talk to what's his name? What's the name of Baba Adeboye's son? The one that's popular now. Forgot his name. Leke Adeboye, right?
Okay.
Yeah. If you talk to Leke Adeboye has stories of when he's derailed from the path for a second, but because of what they train him, he recourse. He was lucky enough to be able to recourse correct back to the line that his parents brought him. He's a pastor today, right? But every single one of those, most of them, let me just say most of them, of those pastors' kids, they push back because they go to university and they're like, and they like, I need to be a part of it, and eventually like it's not really who I am, and they course correct, right? Some of them never come back from it.
But they never. That's the point. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, I told you that I have brothers.
Yeah.
Out of my brothers, we're raised the same way.
Right.
Only one that doesn't drink.
There's one that does. Everybody else drink, right? So the drinking thing is too very. The drinking thing is very surface level. Trust me, there are things that they all do,
like I know,
and it's from the way you guys were raised. You feel me?
But do you know why I'm saying this? Like, do you know why I'm bringing this up?
Tell me now.
Because like I'm trying to relate, because I do relate like with this, with the young boys that I work, that I have opportunity to work with. Like a lot of them, like they respect me and they ask me for that. So like when I tell them some of these things that they do, like sometimes some of them, they don't know why they are even doing what they are doing. Like some people will be like, my friends does it, so I do it. Some people have girlfriends because their friends are girlfriends.
So let's get stuck in that one thing. Let's get stuck in that one thing. I'm going to show you something really quickly, right? My friend does it, so I do it, right? So if we go to, let me find it. Which one of these 6 do you think that falls in? Which one of these 6 basic needs do you think you might categorize that? You might pick one, or you might even pick 2 or 3 of them.
The points.
Yeah, certainty. What is it that they're getting from that, from this theory? Certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, contribution. What is this one or two of this right here that they're getting? And that's what the way they told you is that my friends are doing it, so I do it, right? So there's something that they're getting from this, like in this, from this 6 right here. They're getting a sense of certainty, a sense of variety, connection. I like connection. Keeper say connection. I like significance too. Like what do you call it? When you say you want to something along. What's the phrase? Among, is it among or along? When you want to feel among or something like that, right? You just want to be. Are you still there with me? I can't hear you anymore, Adibusola. What happened? Did she run away from the exam, the test? I can't hear you. Oh, she came back in with it. What happened to you? You're now 2 in the studio. Are you there? Oh, you might have to restart the browser. Sometimes StreamYard does that. Let me help kick you out from 1. And then you can come back in. There you go. Let me go back to the chat. The chat says connection and significance. Yes. I was thinking significance, but I can see connection there too. Connection, for the most part, we use it for love and connection, romantic connection, but I can see connection, from this too. There's always some kind of sense of one of these 6 basic needs that they get from it. And if you understand what that baby is getting from it, then you can help them. If you take the time to think about it before you start correcting people and being a moral police, you take the time to understand why people behave the way they behave. If you kind of like if you need to satisfy your urge to say right and wrong, say it, and let's get a little bit deeper, right? But usually it's not about the right and wrong. What is it that they get? We know that drinking is wrong based off of your moral compass, the way you were raised. We know that this one is wrong or whatever, all the right, wrong, blah, 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 right? What is it that they're getting from it? Can you hear me now? Is it better? Are you there? She don't enter zone. Oh. And I really wanted to hear what she has to say about this. Unmute yourself. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. I can hear you now.
Happened. I got kicked out.
Oh, who knows? It could just be a dead zone or something. Yeah. So which one of these 6 would you attribute that behavior to? They just want to. The friend does it, so I did it.
I think significance.
Yeah, I think it's significant. Sometimes, if there's a void that seemingly those babies can feel with significance amongst friends, like feeling among peer pressure, and you had that together with it, But if you're, that's why a lot of people keep saying, make sure you help your kids with self-esteem, self-worth, right? So that they won't have to go seek validation, aka significance, from their friends outside. I tell my boys all the time, I said, like for example, a few weeks ago, my boy was like, well, we're not doing anything in school. This is the last week. No, this was actually last week. We're not doing anything away in school. My friends left early yesterday. Can I not go to school today? I was like, why? Because you want to follow your friends? What happened to you being a leader? How come they can't say they want to come to school because you're going to school? Then I made him tell me before I decide what I want to do with that. Right? So but every one of us will be in that position where we want to feel among, right? But then there's been some value that's strong enough in us that some of it we just go way over our head. We didn't even notice they were doing it, right? Because it's not what we care for, or we're like, maybe, and everything in between, right? If it's that bad, hopefully you've been trained well to not do it, right? And if you have to make a mistake fall on your face, sometimes we need to do that. Remember, we learn from experience. Hopefully you don't destroy yourself in the process, right?
Please don't talk about this experience again. Like you know what?
You don't like the idea that people have to go through experience to learn. You don't like that, right?
I keep hammering on it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the best teacher. Unfortunately.
Let me tell you the story. In Nigeria, there's those people that sell. They call it abujedi.
Yeah.
So sometimes ago, there is this particular boy that the friend did that he cannot take two of those things that they sell.
The friend there that he can't take
So,
two of Agbojedi. Ha.
like they used to pour that thing inside nylon. I don't know. Like they sell it. Like you see all of them. Like you see them around Lagos.
Right.
So he has never drank before. This particular boy. And do you know that he did
Does
not only
Agbojedi
take-
get people drunk? Does he have alcohol in it?
Jeez. Like they said
So
there's
okay, they
something that is
do
funny.
pour alcohol. They pour conk alcohol in some of them, right?
Do you know that he almost, this person that I'm talking about too, is God that saved the eyes.
Yes, now
The person
because he might poison
the-
himself.
The person almost went blind.
Yeah,
See,
I
let me
believe that.
Like so that thing that they sell apparently, like they used to put palm tree stuff that they've soaked. I've
Yes.
forgotten the name. They said the number of days that you soak it, the number of days that person will sleep.
No, but
don't
the
know.
stronger it gets, I guess. The stronger it gets, yeah.
Okay, so this person had never drank in his life, and because he was dared to do this thing, he now took two. They called his parents to come and pick him. They were already scared. Like the way he was at the venue where they had that thing. So they called the parents came. When the boy was telling me the story, when they got home, they couldn't put him inside. He was throwing up, he was peeing on himself, he was defecating on himself. Like he could not do anything, he could not stand. So they just left him like on the in front of the house and everything. By the following day, his eyes was now sensitive to light. Like he could not stay, not even like sunshine.
I believe
They
that.
can't put on the lights inside the house. It has to be in the dark and everything. And he almost this person almost go blind with that incident that happened. So I was asking him, why did you, like when those people ask you, why did you do it? Like I don't get it.
That's what
Like,
you're
know
going
in your
to.
mind
Must
that
you have this experience before? Must you almost buy before before you? I know what you mean. I say the same. I say the same thing with relationships too.
Like,
Why
they're
do you have to wait until you end up in a bad predicament before you can pick up the book and learn some of these things? I get it, but what do you want to do, man? Some people just need to go through it, you know.
I know some people just have to get it, but you know it's more common than we thought. Okay, do you see the recent news of the boy that just graduated college? That they went on a boat cruise
In Nigeria or here?
And they dared him to jump, and he did.
Here in Nigeria?
No, in the United States.
In the United States? No, I haven't seen that.
Like he jumped, and do you know when he jumped inside the water? I think after he jumped, he realized what he had done. He was now swimming away, and one of the boys on the cruise was telling him bye. They've not found his body.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And they just graduated college, and they were going on a boat a cruise to celebrate, and the parents just felt okay, let him go.
That's sad. That's sad. But you're talking about the extremes, Sha. You're talking about the extremes.
This is a more common that you. Oh my days.
You're talking about the extreme scenarios, you know. The extremes, I agree 100% that these extreme scenarios are one too many. I agree, right?
Like, so what me saying is that like that might be the extreme, but low key, this thing happens. Maybe like I don't know, but because I work with.
Let me translate that to relationships for you, okay?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like
let me translate it to translate
the way they are socialized, like the way men are socialized from when they were young. Then sometimes I kind of feel that men don't like their fellow men, honestly.
No, again, these are extreme stories. Let me translate this to relationships for you, right? In a relationship, a friend of yours told you that, you know, all men are cheaters. When they go out and they step out on Thursday evenings, they are going there to cheat, right? And you're like, well, I don't want to go through the experience. You lock him on his shirt on Thursday evening, he can't go. Right? You're like, you're not going anywhere today, right? What good do you think you're gonna get from? So you now end up in an argument, right? And is this, you know, or you know,
No,
or you just let
like
him
I
go,
don't.
right?
I'm talking about like the basic things, like
That's not
okay,
basic.
like
That's extreme stories that you're telling. These things happen every day, but they are one out of every 1 million persons when this happens. You're right. Bad stories happen every day. If you open certain channels on TV, or if you go on crime.com right now, it's right here on my thing here. If I go on crime, what is it called? Crime, law and crimes, lawandcrime.com right now. If I go there right now, I will see at least 20 of these terrible stories you're talking about. Okay, if you spend enough time here, I don't want to expose anyone to it because I think the negative is worse than what you gain from it,
I
right?
didn't even like listening to those stuff.
If you spend enough time there, because these are real stories, it's not like real things are not happening, right? But they become your reality, not physically, but you will have panic attack. You will start. You will allow your boys to play on the streets summertime.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm telling you right now. This is something I have to deal with my wife sometimes. Like, no, when I was 15, I was walking across Akure. I can walk all the way to my cousin's house across to Akure, the whole city. We can't do that with my boys. Because there's things happening to boys.
You know how the society is now, especially black boys. But
it has changed and it's different. I get that, right? But I'm saying to an extent, you have to be aware. Self-awareness, like somebody said, you have to have some self-awareness around this topic. You protect small, you back off, you let them go a little bit. You let go. Remember we were talking about letting go. You let go, let go so that experience can happen. Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there so that you can gather data. Okay, this is what works. This does what work. Right?
This is data. I kind of agree with you, but I'm not like, it's not like this thing that I'm saying. It's not like I'm a very fearful person. No, I'm not fearful. Like,
so what is it then? Tell me, what is it then?
It's just the way. Maybe it's where the boys and the girls I work with, and how they can be two-faced. Even to you that you're a neutral person, and you find out that they did something that you did not expect, and all those things. But like, I just feel like parents don't teach some things. There is this girl that said the parents told her that if her clothes touches the clothes of a boy, she will get pregnant. Like, I'm telling you real stories, and do you know that? And she's this kind of person.
Most of you ladies that were raised in Nigeria has the same story.
No,
right?
I don't.
I said most. If they touch you, if a boy touches you, you get pregnant. Is that what you just said?
No, they said the clothes.
Yeah, now
she's wearing a dress.
If they smell you just get pregnant.
Why will a parent tell? Maybe I'm oblivious to those things because I have parents that are very, like, I won't say okay. I would say they are open-minded.
Liberal.
Because like when I see these things in others, like, I don't get it. How will your parents tell you that if your clothes should touch a boy's clothes that you get pregnant, and the girl is now somebody that,
because people that are coming from that era believe that fear.
She's a little bit too honest.
Yeah, people that are coming from that era believe that fear and what they call it, like military is what they need to raise kids. That's what they believe from back then.
Not back then. I'm talking about recently.
Oh, you're saying why would parents say that? Some people still do that. Somebody was still telling on YouTube that I'm smacking the ish out of my child. I'm like, okay, good for you. I don't believe that works.
So when I heard that, I was not like, do you know that they were taunting her? All the boys were now using their clothes to touch.
Really? Did she went to school to say, hey, if you touch me, I'll get pregnant?
Yes.
All right. There's another issue there. Okay. That's called get inside. That baby girl needs some street smart lessons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, people started taunting her. And it's crazy. Started bullying her. So because you are into this work. That's why I'm kind of engaging with you, because I know you
understand. It goes down to the same issues. That's why I talk about let go. It's a lot of men that actually have issues. They actually have fear and panic attack at even letting their wife go to the grocery. Right? If she goes to work and she stopped by at the grocery and she's 30 minutes later than she needs to get home, some of them start panicking because they consume content that tells them the worst case scenarios of
Okay,
a
they believe
woman.
the wife is cheating.
Yeah, the woman's back was getting blown out on the way home. Before
That
she
will not
got.
madness.
See what I'm saying? You see? Why that same guy is now saying, why do we have to wait till the experience? How can we nip it in the bud and check it before it happens? Like, no, bro, this one is madness.
No, I'm not even talking about grown men now. I'm talking about like instilling.
The same thing applies to children. You
Yeah,
have
but
to
like-
you have to, like the example you just gave, right? You at some point, what you just told me is that you don't really have a choice than to trust them, and sometimes they will make the wrong move and make mistake. And yes, there will be some extreme stories of children that pass away from that, sadly. But for the most part, that's not the case. But this is how your children will learn, especially boys. Women tend to overprotect boys from the responsibility and
So
the reality of life. Huh?
You think they need to experience things to learn?
No, you need to let us handle that. Let us handle the boys, because I'm not gonna let
That's
them.
what I'm telling you now.
you know,
Like I feel like
I-
me, don't tell them this.
No, like no. Well, it depends case by case, topic by topic. Some people believe that boys are not trained on how to be a family man in a marriage. That's a different topic, right? We need to isolate that topic and talk about it, right? Do we do enough work in telling our boys on how to? I teach my boys game. I teach them game. I don't necessarily pay too much attention to the moral stand of things. I tell them that if you break the moral standards that you subscribe to, there are consequences for it, right? If you break certain standards based off of society standards, if the world think you're wrong, you're going to collect too, right? I teach them those kind of stuff so that they can learn how to navigate in life, right? I don't teach my girl that if somebody touch your clothes, you get pregnant. I believe that type of lesson belonged in 60 years ago. I can understand why they taught people that back then. I don't really get it, but that's where a lot of our parents learn that from. They teach people my age mates. They teach them that, hey, if a boy touches you, you'll get pregnant, and they carry that fear over into marriage. It affects their sexuality inside of marriage, right? And yet, those same girls, a significant percentage, one too many, were tampered with by drivers, right? Or uncle or somebody. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of dysfunction there. I'm not here to judge our parents. They can only there's no era that's perfect. We can only learn as we go. From what I know today, my own opinion when it comes to raising children is to lead by example. Show them what you want them to learn, and then it's icing on the cake when you have little lectures with them. But I think what's most powerful is what they see, right? What they're watching you do is what they see. You know?
Okay. Like
Yeah.
I can
Experience what they see, what they touch, right? Like today, I just sent my boys out. I said, go clean the grill. I don't care if it's perfect, just try to clean the grill so that we can bring it back inside. And they're probably not going to do a perfect one, but the fact that they get handy and stuff like that, that's what we do with boys, and that experience is greater than what I can say to them or what they can read in a textbook, in the name of they don't have to go through it to learn it. No, they need to go. Some of the best lessons they're going to learn in life, they need to go through it to learn it. And this is where prayer comes in. If you're a Christian, to pray for them that God will continue to wash them. And
now, even if you do the right things, it's not a guarantee.
there's no
You raise them
guarantee.
the right way.
There's no guarantee. So there's no right way. There's more like a guide that they can use, tools that they can tap into as they go through life, right? Oh, I remember this as they're going through life. That's really all you can hand them. Somebody said, well, I will never let my daughter, like, shut up. You don't have that kind of power. Okay? There are grown men saying that on the internet. I will never let my daughter. The moment you start that sentence like that, I know you don't know what you're talking about. And I don't think that works, because what's going to happen is that your daughter is going to gain their own agency, autonomy at some point, and they will push against every stupid things that you taught them. If you happen to be unlucky, and it might hurt them for real now, because because they've been protected for so long, they're going the opposite direction. There's no guide in life. It's always sweet in the middle. It's a dance. There's no such thing as everything is extreme and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to teach my kids that anything is extreme. I want them to understand that it's case by case. It's where they land. How do you respond to crisis in real time as it's coming, right? That's life, and that's what I like. That's the idea I like to teach to kids. And then in terms of moral standards and stuff like that, they're watching my lifestyle anyway. That supersedes everything anyway. If I tell them one thing, I do something else. What difference does that make? So, but I get you. But sorry, experience is still the best teacher. Okay.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even believe that. Like, it's crazy. I don't believe that.
You don't have a choice. It's not a choice that we have. It's not a choice that we have. Experience. The closest thing to is mentorship, maybe coaching. Textbooks are terrible. Somebody pour their mind. Them. Yes, it's just. I think it's a good thing to read textbooks. Don't get me wrong. I think reading is good, but when you get out there and practice, that's why they call it practice, right? You ever seen a doctor and say, I've never. Would you let a doctor that's never caught animal caught you if you found out, right? They've never, doctors go through cutting cadaver and stuff like that before they try to touch human beings. And even at that, when somebody is cutting human beings, they learn from other doctors that are senior, that have been doing it forever. They don't say, hey, we have technology that can do the cutting of the stomach. Let's do it. That's not how that works. Experience is still the best teacher. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, Adebsola, for the conversation. You have a last word? Oh, that's it.
Like, it's something that, because this.
Oh, you just came back. I think you were seasoned. Can you hear me?
I don't think. One day I hope I will agree with you. But
can you go back? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I lost you for a second. Can you go back to what you were saying?
I said I appreciate you engaging with me.
Yeah.
But I don't think all things has to be experienced for you to learn.
I don't think so too. I didn't say that.
But I feel like it's not. You don't have to experience everything for you to.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I suggest that, as a matter of fact. But I'm telling you that human beings is coconut head. Sometimes they have to. You get what I'm saying? This is expectation that we're talking about here. I agree with you.
Human being is coconut head.
Human beings have coconut head. All of us. Sometimes we don't listen until we just don't hear it until we've been through it, because we can't relate. That's why. Like, you're saying something in theory, it makes sense, but they can't relate, so they're disconnected. So once they see, they can align, because every one of us, we have things going on in our head all the time. So that's why you pray. That's why you pray that you don't miss.
That's why I pity people that don't believe in anything. Like sometimes, when you cannot fathom anything, just say, the fact that you can even say God understands. That's one psychological relief that you can never have, for you to rationalize and look at the way I'm overthinking things, because I'm trying to rationalize.
You rationalize everything. Yeah, good luck.
So like that's so if you believe in
the
supreme being, you can always say, well, believe that's God. Like,
you don't have to believe in supreme being. Some people don't believe, but they also understand that they don't have answers to everything. Rationalizing is seeking answers for everything, right? Or seeking, it needs to make logical sense.
So what does life with Natu means by you all have the same story?
Coconut head. I think she's talking about coconut head, I think. Do you know that most 10-year-old watches P movies both home and abroad? Yeah. But I don't really see much of. I think that's bad. I think that's a parenting thing. I think that's supervisorship. But I think it's if it's extreme. What do I mean by extreme? Like, the parents are not paying attention at all. I think that's bad. But if you have enough people that are honest with you, the way we were growing up, when we were being raised in the 90s, we were exposed too early. We just don't talk about it. right? And some of us turn out fine. We're not justifying it. It doesn't mean you should now allow it. What you should learn from that is make sure you're watching your kids, because if you're not paying attention, if you're working too much, yeah, they will find their way to some of these things. But that's the reality. You're right. It's bad. But
Okay, you mentioned something earlier on. Now that this person talk about 10-year-old, you said you teach your boys game.
yeah, game in terms of social intelligence, social emotional intelligence skills, emotional
Okay,
intelligence,
like do you make
social
them read all
power.
these how to
Oh,
influence
I've
people
gone
and how to
through
make
like
friends?
I've gone through that with them. 48 laws of power, and the way I did it is a conversation. They did most of the talking, right? They did most of the talking, and for the most part, they have an idea. But when you're having a conversation, a dialogue with them, it helps them arrange their thought process. And you can say, "What about this?" I can ask questions to help them direct their thoughts. Questions that are more like why should this, why should, and then have the conversation, and we just do that.
Have you
So
ever flipped it on you?
no, so that's the thing
Your
with
logic. Have
yeah
you ever
that
flipped your logic?
yeah they haven't, okay, they haven't, and no one
They
can
will start
really.
doing it.
I'll be fine with it. Then we'll play that game, because what it comes down to is value, right? If there's value, if we're talking about value, everybody will be fine now, right? What's the value in whatever we're talking about, right? Why should they negotiation skills is essentially what I'm talking about, right? Like, why should, if they want to have conversation around power with me, right? 48 laws of power, and they try to flip it and say, so do you think I should take this money now or I should use it later? I said, do you think? You tell me, right? So I make them answer all the questions, and there's also the authority that I have as a father that just kind of trump everything by default anyway, But if they use it on me, that would be a day of joy for me, because I would just find so much fun in that. What's that?
They will. I've had one of the boys that I'm trying to counsel flip things on me. Man, like I was like, it was crazy that day because I was just talking to him about something. He just said he just used it back, and in my mind I knew that was my logic. I pretend I said I didn't take it.
So even adults do that to us, right? So what I do is that I will engage my patients. It just means I need to listen a little bit more. We all care about something. There's something we care about, but sometimes when we're not patient enough to listen long enough, or we jump to conclusion prematurely, then they will try to use it and flip it on us. But if you flip it on me, maybe I deserve that you flip it on me. Maybe I'm the one that's weak in whatever it is that we're talking about, right? And then I can course correct, right? But again, it's about value, right? What is it that we're talking about? What is that you want? What do I want? You've paid me, let's say, for example, you've paid me as a coach, and then you flip one of my concepts on me, right? You say something like, well, Ola, you always say that women don't lie, men don't listen. And you're a woman, and I'm coaching you, right? I'll first of all do this laughter I just did. I was like, what do you mean? So you don't lie? Well, I've never lied, and I just wanted to tell you that this man is like the rest of them is evil. I was like, okay, if this man is evil, why would you want to stay with him? It should be as simple as you go file for divorce right now, and that will open another lane for us to continue the conversation. You know what I'm saying? This man is just inherently evil. Like, he just doesn't listen, and like the rest of the men, like, let's say I'm coaching and counseling somebody and they just want to brush men under the rug to make them feel good. I just need to be patient. It might just be a momentary thing. They need to feel better or need to feel validated about what they're trying to say. But it's usually an indication that I'm not listening long enough. If I am a better listener than you, it's going to be very hard for you to flip it on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I received that. The one last question I have to you is also about.
Are you sure? It's the last one. Are you sure it's the last one?
Do you think that men?
Okay, all right.
Go
ahead.
It's actually the last one because I don't believe it, but some people say it. A lot of people say, do you believe that men are predatory in nature or like territory in nature?
Men are predatory and territory in nature?
By nature. Just because they are born
Yes, but again, it depends on what we're talking about, right? Some people will bring that into conversation and they say, yeah, because men like to go and kill lions, but those are lions though. So we can come and eat the lion. Like, okay. Context matters, you know. I think in nature, men are territorial. Yes. I think
No, like people don't say that, but it is inherent in their nature. Like you know how
yeah,
they are teaching
yes.
women, like because like if somebody is territorial and predatory in nature, as a woman, that you shouldn't try to, how will I put it, still in relationship stuff. Like you should accept them for who they are.
Yeah.
You
No,
have-
not
I
not
feel
not
that
well, about accepting, right? Yeah, it's not about accepting. Men are predatory in nature, meaning men like to conquer. It's a sense of a conqueror. You want to be able to conquer your territory and take over. Yes, damn near, you might start calling me insecure if you really see how deep this goes. Okay?
No, I will never call you insecure because, like, you know, I think one of the things that what happens like between people that are in relationship is that we refuse to accept some basic truth. Like, for instance, if I know, if I have a friend, I don't try to change my friend to be like me.
Right. That's smart.
I use whatever they are. Let me say I use.
There's a reason why they are your friend. If they can be used, then maybe they are useless. Yes.
Like I use that to my advantage. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah.
Like,
would they like to be useless?
No, like not use. Like, okay.
I know
let's
what
say
you mean. I know what you mean.
Let's say I know that you're this kind of person. Let's say I believe in all this 50-50 bullshit that they say now. And I have a friend that likes to give. I don't try to convince that friend
Not to give,
that we
right?
need to share. You understand what I'm saying? So what I just do sometimes is, if this person believes that, okay, when we have a girls' night out, she will always pay. One day I will just believe that I should pay.
Right.
I don't even understand what I'm saying. Like, I don't
go ahead.
I don't think we must share. No. We must share the bill today.
No, we don't have to share. I have partners that I work with, and sometimes we end up on the same project, and we have to work together. We have to have meetings. I got you this time. You got me next time. There might not be a next time.
Or you know,
Yeah.
some people, they are so critical. They be asking, how much do I owe you? How much do I? They will keep
Yes,
asking.
I know what you mean. That's an anti-seductive behavior. It's right here. It's a poison. It poisons relationship. If you look at anti-seducers on the screen right now, number 4, right? Number 4, but also number 3. Everything must be equal on one side for them, right? They have to split everything down the middle. They're always playing fairness.
And territorial nature. Do you think that if that is an inherent nature of men, do you now think that women should accept that and work with that?
No, accept it in what way? This is what I want you to accept. Let me explain to you what you need to accept. Okay. Somebody asked earlier and said, what do men want? Let me see if I can still find it. Okay, here you go. And I said he wants to feel like the king and feel needed, even if it's an illusion. The key word is feeling, right? Accepting it actually is a powerful thing for you, depending on your perspectives, on how you see things, your outlook on this issue, right? If you accept it, it's like, oh, this my man is this way, right? Don't just accept anything general and paste it on your husband. That doesn't work. That backfires. But let's say, Kiloso.
Like, but in accepting, you have to have like a boundary, like something that.
In accepting, you shouldn't be on the receiving end of bad behavior. Okay. Don't be what do you call it? Don't be a doormat. Don't be a pillow that somebody is beating on because they are. This is just me. Right. Don't do that to yourself because somebody say you should accept something. No, you don't have to accept jack. Okay. But if we're talking purely emotional, that's why I use the word feelings. Right. Yes, a man wants to feel like he conquered It's territory. Like, this is mine. Like, this is my wife. I'm the king of this castle. He wants to feel that. And if you as a woman understand that, and you go, "Lo worry me," or like, if you do all that kind of stuff, his balls are your. He would do everything you want him to do. His balls are now yours. Okay? Just because you understand this, or quote unquote, depending on who is talking to you, say you should accept it. It's not accepting in that way. It's just realizing that, hey, men generally like to feel respect. Don't go there and say, well, all people want to feel respect. That's not the same thing. Okay? That's not the same thing. The same word, not the same thing. He wants to feel respected by his woman. You can blame it on social construct. You can blame it whatever you want to blame it on. But you've noticed that your husband, if you talk slightly sideways with him, his behavior changes, start acting like a baby around the house. Maybe you should pay attention to that and say, babe, you know I didn't mean that. I love you. Rub the back of his head. Make him feel like a king. Now he's yours. Who has the power now? These are what we're talking about. Feelings. At an emotional level. Don't be there and say, oh, somebody said I should accept it, and somebody is beating over me all the time. Even with their words. Like, no, don't accept that. If you continue to accept that, he might not even realize that you're accepting. He might just think things are normal. And by the time
this is like you say.
Yeah.
Like, I hear you, but okay. Let me just take it.
No, give me the but. I know there's a big old but there. Tell me the but. You hear me, but.
Like, if you do it, maybe there's this push and pull thing.
Yes, like, it's a dance.
You said?
Yes, it is a dance. You said push and pull. I said yes, it is a dance, right? If you do it, you need to be, well, you need to have a strong purpose for doing it, a strong why, and it needs to be about you. Okay, if you don't have that, if you're faking it, it will backfire. You will end up resenting yourself. Okay, so I don't think you should be rewarding bad behavior.
Not something that the person feels. So if that is the case, that means like for any two people to get into a relationship, for the most part, I've not talked about this before. Okay, if a man wants to get into a relationship with a woman, that means he wants something from her.
Yeah, there's value in it. There's some kind of value there. Did you hear me?
I can hear you. Like, I'm thinking, like, he wants something from her. So?
And vice versa. Right? There's something you want. I mean, maybe it's just me. Well, there's something that it makes you feel like being with me. What is it that you want? Maybe it's just connection. Number 4. I don't know. But there's something in it for you. Right? Maybe it's certainty. Maybe it's security.
Well, like,
maybe...
women and girls are out there going through a relationship and demanding nothing.
No, they're getting something. It's just they haven't unpacked it. They're getting something. It could be even status. Maybe he's a pastor and she feels safe being with a pastor. That's still something. That's value.
Pastor. I beg you, talk about pastor.
We haven't covered the virgin story yet. So some virgins say, well, it's a pastor. Okay. That's value. So it makes you feel something. Whatever it makes you feel, that's the value you're getting. Nobody is getting into a relationship just for charity. Even charity itself belongs in number 6. Contribution.
Or like, in church, they don't teach it that way.
They don't.
Like, I'm going back to religious, this thing.
They don't. That's the problem I have with the churchy way of teaching these things.
They will be like, selfless. What's that word?
Yeah.
Like, as if you are being selfless to other people. Yeah. And that's how some people
just be Jesus. Yeah, just be Jesus, basically. Yeah.
Like,
Mary Magdalene.
Let me just stop because my mind there. Once you open
your mind is good, but just feel free to come up anytime. Thank you so much.
You said
feel free to come up anytime.
Like, thank you for having me, and thank you for what you do, and have a good one.
Thank you so much, Adebusala. We'll talk soon. All right, bye. All right, that was a good one. That's a good. I always enjoy the conversation. Feel free to come up anytime. If there's room in my time, I'll create it sometimes. and we'll make it work. But we can learn a lot from that. If somebody is dragging you on the internet, we're talking about Banky W. I'm just gonna leave you with this, right? Somebody say, you need to answer to us. It's nonsense. You don't have to answer to nothing. At some point, you might need to answer to it. Depends on 4 factors I'm going to share with you. Your personal mindset, okay? If it makes you feel better to answer to it, hopefully, I would basically consider your personal mindset. Make sure that, but I would definitely consider that. Make sure you're not just overreacting. But that's actually not the number one. The number one I wanted to share with you when it comes to pure rumors. If we're talking about pure rumors right now, what I want you to pay attention to is this one: the accuracy of the rumor. Did you do it? If you do it, that's not the end of it. If you do it, relax. Okay, relax. You don't have to answer people. You don't owe anybody answers. Okay. Not the public, okay? I don't care if they call you a pastor, so you're a pastor, you must answer. No, that's BS, okay? Number 2, higher belief, gravitation in negativity, right? I'm looking at stuff from yesterday. So that was wrong. I knew that was wrong instantly. Let me see here. I knew that was wrong instantly. Sorry about that, guys. All right, number 2 is the platform and the reach. The platform that's dragging you, how big are they? How credible are they? Those are the things you need to consider, right? Where's the rumor originating from? In this case, they didn't mention your name. Okay, not a big deal. But everybody is dragging it. It can tamper with things you care about and stuff like that. But in terms of the platform and reach, some platforms are big enough, and the rumor can spread wide enough, then it can absolutely destroy whatever you're cooking. Those are some of the things you need to consider. Okay. All right. The number 3 thing you need to consider is legal implication. Okay. If the rumor is defamatory or damaging, talk to legal experts. After all, you're a person of status. You can make 1 or simple 2 calls. You talk to a few friends that will know something about something. They will tell you if you need to react, if you don't need to react. I'd rather you talk to your lawyer first before you talk to your pastor. Okay, the pastor can pray for you while you're going through this, but this is a real life situation. Okay, all right. But legal experts can guide you on the best course of action. You should take your time on this. Okay, you don't need to rush it. I promise you, heaven is not falling out of the skies. Not tonight, not tomorrow. Okay, take your time. Okay, and number 4 will be personal values and brand image. This is the part where some people try to plug in the pastor thing, because your pastor, there's some things that we just do in pastor. Yes, you should consider your personal values and the image you want to portray. Some individuals will choose to address the rumors immediately to maintain transparency and trust with the audience. I'm telling you, the audience, that's not the reason why they're loyal to you. They just like drama. Okay, so be careful when you're basically trying to do things to please your audience. They are pleased by your brand already and the consistency of what you offer the world, not by how holy you are. I don't care if you're a pastor. People follow pastors not because of how holy they are. They follow them just because. Okay, it makes them feel safe, whatever. They just like him. Okay, they feel among. Varieties looks beautiful in the church. Koza. Everybody walks on paradise when they go to Koza. Some people go there for that reason. They just want to feel among. Okay, not because it's holy. I think we found that out years later that they don't really care. They don't really care. So number 1, accuracy of the rumor. Number 2, the platform and the reach. How big is it? It's really that big of a deal. How credible is it? More importantly, how credible, right? All right. legal implications. If they are credible that much enough, you can sue them, and it's defamation. You need to talk about all. I would say give yourself 2 weeks to assess all of this. After 2 weeks, they'll probably have forgotten and move on, and you just notice that you just gain maybe 200,000 extra followers. Not bad for a nice 2 days of trending. Okay, what I just said here is easier said than done. Let's be clear. Some people care about their brand, they want to overreact, it's emotional to them, but it's always bad. Talk to other people, make sure that you're not misfiring. Okay, all right, on your way out, do me a favor, hit that like button, share and subscribe. Let everybody know. There's a nice little love emoji thing over there on the corner that I noticed YouTube just, if you can just go ahead and tap on it right now, just tap on it so we can tell YouTube that we're enjoying what is going on, in addition to the like buttons. If you see it on your chat, please make sure you are tapping on the heart thing on the side of your chat. But I want to say thank you so much for coming by on the Monday evening. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. Let me see, did I miss something so far? Let's see. Yeah, oh yeah, I think we're good. Yep. All right. Yep, hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. If you're watching a replay, there's always a $sign around this video. Please feel free to support. All right, thank you. We'll see you on the next one, and peace.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.